It's funny, Chris Kennedy's Facebook page ended the day of the election.
Really?
Yes. That was the last post.
Probably didn't want that. Ooh.
I love the word meddling. It reminds me so much of like Rocky and Bullwinkle.
You know, here's the piece. You talk about meddling in an election to suit your foreign policy aims. The United States is like the masters.
Master meddlers.
Regime
Yes,
change.
yeah.
They will kill your ass.
Yeah.
They will kill Gaddafi.
Yeah.
They will kill Saddam Hussein. They will kill a motherfucker. Let alone, meddle in the election.
Yeah, Russia does it too.
Of course, they all do it.
Yeah, you get these guys dropping from these nuclear shots that
But
they're
we
people
do
around
some
the
stuff
world,
that's outrageous, man. We string people up.
To me, meddling is what the kids in Scooby-Doo did.
Keep them like the Bay of Pigs.
Oh, yeah,
You
okay.
talk about that? Man, these people, they're so
Powering on.
outraged.
Welcome to All-Tech
I
Lansing.
bet the French interfere in U.S. elections. Everybody does. I mean, you try to get your point made.
And all the different countries in Africa.
Oh, man. Talk about
That's right.
what they do over there.
Almost on a weekly basis.
I mean, it's like, and they sit around so outraged that these people tried to, of course they did it. They probably did it in 2012. They did it in 2008.
I just love the word meddling. I think it's a great
Man,
word.
it's just,
Great
this
word.
whole thing is so, it's so contrived.
All right, let me see where I can go here. It's Mace. Wave of Condemnation. That's a band that
Yeah, they'll
Lord
do that
bless
for the
her.
rest of the week.
I'm
and
going
then
to see
it'll-
Wave of Condemnation.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning, welcome back. I see your shirt.
Watch the show.
I'm tired. All right, y'all, take a moment, share the broadcast. The phones are back. They thought they could kill it, but we gonna keep the conversation rocking. Appreciate y'all tuning in yesterday, but we getting ready to have a wonderful show today. I think it's gonna be great dialogue. Make sure that you are ready. Are you all making plans to come out to the Taste of WVON? That is this Saturday. Do not miss it. We should have a great time. What's up, Todd? We're good?
Everything's good, Mr. Mays.
No, mister.
Why? That's your father?
Mm-hmm.
Is his name Mason?
I tell people that all the time. Mr. and Sir. That's my old man. Save it.
Okay. I hate Chief. Yeah. Okay, Chief.
Ooh, that sounds like Annette's there. It's time to take a moment. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast, y'all. I'm a little tired today. It's all good.
Temperatures already in the 70s. Your bus stop temperature at 71 degrees. 71 in South Shore.
We got the.
At Midway. And it's 71 degrees here at the Talk of Chicago. That's a look at traffic and weather now. I'm in F1 on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
We're only 4 days away from Chicago's fastest growing fest. The Taste of WVON. Saturday, July 21st. 8th at the Dock from 10 a.m. until we're through.
War and poverty. Oh, wake up all the teachers to teach in the way. Maybe then they'll listen to what you have to say. They want to coming up, and the world is in their hands. When you teach the children, teach them the very best. The world won't get no better if we just let it be. Oh, Brother Edward, I will call you today. Wake up all the does make the old people well. Wake up all the builders, time to build a new man. Na 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 na. No better. We gotta change it, girl. Good morning, Chicago. Good morning, world. This is the WVON Morning Show. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my main man, Charles Thomas, in the building. Charles, how you feeling this morning?
Strapped in, ready for takeoff.
Charles, we are ready to go, getting this airplane up in the air. It is the soul plane on the WVON Morning Show. But you know what? We're going to get this thing in the air. Gotta say what's up to the WVON Morning Show team. Yo, Annette, how you feeling this morning? Okay, so we're going to check. You do. You know what? We're doing great, Annette. Hey, you know what, Annette, I was thinking about? As the taste of WVON is upon us, only 4 days away. I'm not, Charles, Annette, I don't know who I'm more excited to see. Teresa Griffin or Dougie Fresh? I'm still a little upset with you, man, about that stylistics. I remember just feeling like, drum roll, and I was expecting Todd's voice, and it was like, and Charles, you hit us with the who? The stylistics.
It's always going to be good, though, to hear Teresa Griffin. I mean, how many years have I been listening and seeing Teresa Griffin.
Man, you know what?
Fantastic.
Charles, you think she gonna do Purple Rain? Have you ever seen her do Purple
I've seen
Rain?
her do so many. Oh yeah, I've seen her.
Oh,
do
that
so many.
Purple
Oh,
Rain!
man, yeah.
Good Lord!
She's fantastic. Never disappoints.
She got the. So let me ask you a question. If it is Teresa Griffin Day, do you in the whole city of Chicago? So now let me ask you a question. You think the mayor's coming to bring her a proclamation?
Hey, do you think the alderman's coming?
The alderman is definitely gonna be there. Oh, come on, man. You know Michelle Harris makes.
You and I are gonna be there, man. I don't know.
Hey, you know what, Michelle Harris? I tell you what, on the Taste of WVON, she is definitely a blessing. She makes sure that she definitely will.
Man, if we can have a conversation.
She gonna hit Cliff, man. She gonna go to the Cliff Kelly show. Man, she got so many residents out there. So, but it is gonna be great. But I'm gonna tell you, I can't wait. Plus, man, Charles, they got Ray Silkman. There's gonna be a tribute to Johnny Taylor.
Johnny Teller.
Right, I knew you was gonna say. How did I get Johnny Teller?
Who's that?
Johnny, don't look at me. Johnny Taylor? You like, nah, it's not Johnny Taylor. You're Johnny Teller.
Johnny Teller.
Plus, Doug E. Fresh. Man, he
And the Get Fresh crew, is that?
I think Dougie done dropped the Get Fresh crew, man.
Really?
He rolling solo, man. He rolling solo. Him and his beatbox. You know what I'm saying? But I'm gonna tell you what. It is gonna be rocking in Lorraine Dixon Park. You all do not want to miss it. Woo! Plus the Children's Pavilion. And guess what, y'all? Y'all know y'all can catch me, right? In the beer garden, and then we got the senior pavilion, plus tons of fun for everyone. Now remember, you got to keep the park clean, y'all. No grills. Tents only allowed in the designated tent area, because Charles, let me tell you how people do. For the Taste of WVON, they start coming out on Thursday. They pick their spot. You know how when it's wintertime and they put a chair out? Well, for the Taste of WVON, they go put their lawn chairs out there. They fold up chairs on like Thursday night. Then, but what, people be trying to put the pop-up tent right in front of the stage to have a family reunion. You be like, you got, look, man, we know you got your fresh tents, your fresh setup. You got to move it to the designated tent areas. Y'all, it is the Taste of WVON. Do not miss it. Now, Charles, did you see the movie Red Dawn?
Yeah, I saw that.
Do you see it, boy? The president, Trump, sided with the U.S. He sided with Putin against the U.S. intelligence agencies, and everybody's hair is on fire.
Well, everybody, some of them, their hair is half on fire. Some hair is fully ablaze. Apparently, this is the first time an American president has ever done this, where he has sided with a foreign power in that kind of situation. Against his own intelligence agency?
So, you know what, Charles? But I kind of feel like Trump was in between a rock and a hard place, right? Because if you say, yeah, you support the intelligence agency, this is the same agency that's trying to take you down. So it's like if I say, well, yeah, and I understand you saying the nuance, but it's like I felt like he stuck it in all of their eye yesterday. But I don't think he expected the response he got.
I don't think he expected the response, and I think but think back a few days, a week or so, when Mueller, the special prosecutor, announced the indictments of 12 Russians, right?
Right.
Russian military people who apparently had been interfering in the U.S. election. He indicted them.
Right.
He did it a week before he knew that the president was going to have a meeting with Putin.
That's kind of bogus to me.
It is bogus because he put the president on a spot, and the president, being the petulant, immature person that he is, reacted. Trump, he's going to react. So that I think had a lot to do with this, because then the press was asking Trump, aren't you going to ask about those indictments? Is he going to extradite those people that we have indicted? He sort of put Trump on the spot. Mueller did that.
Think how bogus that. I feel like, could you imagine being on a tour because Trump was already over in Europe. Right. So it's like, what you gonna do? You gonna announce the indictments while he's over in Europe, so he gonna cancel the last stop on his trip? That was kind of shady.
Bogus. The thing is, this is the first, the deep state, as they call it, the lifetime bureaucrats in the government control foreign policy. That's the way the United States ensures continuity, that it doesn't just change because we elect a new president once every 4 or 8 years. They have the deep state controls foreign policy, and now Trump has departed from that tradition.
Let me ask a question. Because I think you're right. Like, Charles, I feel like Russia in my whole entire life has always been the boogeyman. Like, I feel like you gotta have like the evil empire out there now, and I feel like Russia's been that, but I feel like that ain't really who's creating all the havoc right now. You know, I feel like it's these terrorist things and all of that stuff. Is it a paradigm shift, or are we trying to create the Axis 2.0? I'm telling you.
I mean, I think when Trump says, when you have the two mightiest nuclear powers on the planet, they need to be talking to each other, because both of them got more bombs to kill the world 4 times over, 4 times again. You know, so you need, that part of what Trump's doing, I get. And I don't see why anybody wouldn't understand that. You want lines of communication, don't you? I mean, when you dealing with two people as armed as these two countries are, but at the same time, you don't want to endorse some of the things that Putin does around the world. The fact that he has rigged elections in his country.
Have we ever done anything like that?
What? Rigged election? No, we do what we call regime change.
We kill we do like
regime change.
You know what, like that cop in Chicago do regime change on the streets. We kill mugs, right? We go places, we kill mugs. Look, it's the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. When we come back, man, we got a lot to talk about. This shooting, man, people, is justified? Not. It's a lot to talk about on the Talk of Chicago, 1690. Hey, y'all, take a moment to share the broadcast. How is everybody doing today?
July is celebrating freedom.
All righty. Man, y'all, take a moment to share the broadcast. All right, y'all, who is out there rocking? What's up, Denise Russell? What's up, Bueller? A spirited conversation and debate. Ooh, number 2. I seen you out there. What up, Ron Lewis? What up, Kwesi Amoa? Hey, man, I do think, though, that Trump looked kind of like, okay, just for the record, though, I do think it looked like Trump was, it was like, you are now going to tell the American people that I am strong. I am stronger than you. And now Donald Trump. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, y'all, take a moment to share the broadcast. I'm back in the building. And man, we grew up thinking Russia was coming to get us. You better stop that. Man, did anybody ever see the movie Red Dawn? Man, do you remember the first Red Dawn? Not the second one. The first one was off the chain. Remember? Like they was sitting in class and then they looked out the window and the parachutes was coming down. Remember that? And then Patrick Swayze, it was like one of them movies, and then they all busted out. Man. Woo. And Ron O'Neal was the Cubans. I'm telling you, Red Dawn, that stuck in my head from the kids. I'm going to tell you, though, I do think he kind of got something on him. You will now say, Russia is the greatest country in the world. Like my beach. My beach. Take a moment, share the broadcast. You are welcome to the USSR, the country. I am. Americans do not fear. I control your president. This is Vladimir Putin. What up, Mark? Mark Walsh? Whoa, we going back. What up, Israel? What up, Keith Rowland? Mark Walsh, where y'all at on the shooting? Do not fear. You are now in the state of Russia. I am now, this is Vladimir Putin. And I am telling you, Americans, that I have now taken over your president. But do not fear, Americans. Do not fear. We love you now. But we are now the mightiest country in the world, Charles.
You ever had a Black Russian? One of those drinks called a Black Russian? Man?
No,
You ever had one of those?
I've not.
Yeah.
I thought I was the Black Russian.
The Black Russian, man, they have a drink. It's got vodka in it, and it's got, like, I think coffee?
You know,
Something like that, or chocolate? I don't know, but it's a Black Russian.
no, Charles, but perhaps you can, perhaps as we convert our country, as you convert over, you can introduce me to this Black Russian that you talk. I thought I was the Black Russian.
You know,
I thought I was the Black Russian.
I've heard some bad stories about black people in Russia,
I-
like Africans who tried to go there, man, and they get.
No, Charles, you must understand.
Experience.
I think as Vladimir Putin, I will make it better for the African Americans. They will love me. They will love me. The African Americans will love me when I take over the United States, and especially the black people in Illinois. You already are from Madagascar. So it will be good for you. I will be very good for you.
Well, we understand dictatorships because we've been living with Mike Madigan for the last 40-some years.
What?
Oh, you know, you're right. I think we could probably, at least our black politicians here in Cook County, they certainly would be amenable to the kind of regime that.
Charles, they are very ready. They're ready. They are. When you grab how I have Donald Trump by the testicles, it is very similar to how Mike Madigan controls them in Madagascar.
Yes.
See, you just must grab them by the testicles and squeeze.
I don't know that if you were like some kind of, if that's a Turkish accent.
It's the Black Russian. It's Ibanishan. It's Ibanic with Russia combined, right? It's Ibanishan. Yeah, we are going to create a new country, right? And we will put the black people. You will have your own state in the United States. Just join the USSR. It is your new.
USSR.
The USSB. You can have a black in the USSR. I'm telling you. You will love Black Russia. Yeah, you Black Russians for everyone.
What do you do with Madigan? What kind of guy?
I will give him his own state. He already has a state. The state of Illinois. We will just rename it Madagascar. We will just do it officially. I am telling you. You must understand the Black Russian. Hey man, speaking of Black Russians, Did you hear about your mayor Emmanuel? He's outraised all of his competition. It's like he's one of my, what do you call those?
Oligarchs?
He is like an oligarch for the state of Illinois. I mean, for the country. We name it.
We got oligarchs. We got J.B. Pritzker. We got Bruce Rounder. We got guys with a lot of money. I mean, we got those already. So Vladimir or President Putin.
And Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin.
Vladimir Putin. Get it right. This is not funny. There's nothing funny about this.
You might send me to Siberia.
I-
No, I'm like cold.
It would be best for African Americans in the cold in Siberia. Okay, I'm back. Oh my God, I'm back, man. Hello, Charles. Oh my goodness. That Vladimir Putin?
Vladimir Putin, man. I don't know if I can take Vladimir Putin. You know, have you ever noticed how things happen as we go along here? You know, we're from Vladimir to Vladimir. I like Vladimir.
I like Vladimir Putin. Maybe he will become a character as
drinking Black Russians.
Black Russians. Now I saw. Did you ever see in what was it? Trading Places or 48 Hours? You ever had a white Russian? Right? He said no, and he. Okay, I got too much going on my hard drive. Charles, as I was alluding to, as Vladimir Putin was referring to. Did you see Mayor Emanuel, man? This dude is putting money in the bank like there is no tomorrow.
And you know, and I guess some of the pollsters are suggesting it isn't going to help it. I was surprised that I know she's been a county commissioner for several years, for at least 1-2 terms now.
Mm-hmm.
But Bridget Gaynor has $800,000 in her political war chest.
That's significant.
Very significant, because she probably could pose a real challenge to him, particularly in the first round.
And she quit her job as
that.
global PR director of public affairs.
Global.
That means she around the world. She quit. You don't just quit no job. See, that's. But let me tell you, that's white people for you. Let me just tell you what. There's no black person I know that's quitting no job as the global public affairs person for no. Well, maybe.
Well, her boss at Aon, I don't know if it's still the same guy, but I don't want to go out there like that. But they probably say, hey, do what you got to do, and we always got a seat for you over here when you need something.
That's how it works for white people, man.
Now, if we need something and you get to be the mayor, then hey.
Right, maybe we take that insurance, even though I think that, that Aon was like from the daily, that guy, wasn't he like, he's the green team?
Is that Jack?
Pat
Ryan.
Green team. Green team.
Look,
We are in Russia, this green team. Who is this green team you speak of?
They named Vladimir. They named the stadium after this guy at Northwestern University, Pat Ryan.
He was so gangster, he took somebody else's name off to put his name on.
Great update.
Look, man, green team don't be playing. Hey, Charles. So it looks like Rahm is going to have his race cut out for him. Charles, but I was just thinking, speaking of that, have you noticed that all the mayoral candidates have now officially weighed in on this 71st Street uprising, including, but the Sun-Times did feature 2 big pictures and then some small pictures. They played your man. What's up with that?
They played Willie Wilson on that in the paper. Now online they gave him a shot, a photo, but they wouldn't put him in this group of 6 that they have photos of in the paper. It seems like they're playing up Dorothy Brown, but they won't play up Willie Wilson. It's almost like maybe they're trying to give Dorothy Brown some play so that she ends up in the runoff with.
No, I think that could be it, but I think they're gonna body slam her shortly. I think they got to get your hopes up high and then dash them, and then it just breaks up your whole thing, and then people don't know which way to go. You talked about it.
I've been talking about bashing her for years. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, but I heard. Well, you're right. Hey, Charles, but did you hear also in the news? Andrew Holmes is making an endorsement of Gary McCarthy. How in the heck did we get to a point where Andrew Holmes is making endorsements in the mayor's race? But you know what? With this 71st Street uprising and everything else that's going on, I can't wait to talk to you about the social media question of the day, Charles. But we'll talk about it when we come back after news, traffic, and the weather. If he puts this thing up on the bottom of the screen, I can't see. Take a moment, share the broadcast. All right, y'all. Did y'all? Hey, man, I tried a little bit with the Vladimir. Any, I gotta give it to you, boy. Give me a little love. You know what I'm saying? I go through these moments. My coffee. I think I need a second coffee today. Good morning, Daryl Murray. All right, let's go. What up, Denise Russell? What up, Quasey? What up, Ron Lewis? What up, Antonio? What up, Darlene Kennard? What up, Diane Scott? What up, Henry Hartsfield? Okay, Sean, we'll talk today. What up, Ship? What up, Ron Lewis? What up, Marvin Hunter? Bueller. We seen you, Bueller, out there trying to get your summertime. What up, Trump? Trump. What up, Brother Edward? What up, B Greasy? Brian Hudson working on that, brother. What up, Sean John? What up, Ron Lewis? What up, M. Wade Jr.? What up, Dennis Evans? What up, Quasey? What up, Israel? What up, Mark Walsh? What up, Denise Russell? Did you see? No, I did not see him on CNN last night. What up, Ryan Lewis? What up, Felicia Gatewood? What up, Bolingbrook in the house? What up, Keith Rowland? What up, Dennis Evans? Dang, Dennis, don't be hating. It was spontaneous, man. Reese Mo. What up, Sean Williams? What up, Shannon Fix? What up, what up, Leah Charrier? What up, Jasmine Turner? Happy belated birthday, Jasmine. We're going to have you in here, I promise. What up, Felicia? What up, Eddie? I want to talk to you. What up, Tamiko Holt? What up, Sheila Aiken? What up, Frank? Frankly speaking, we know. What up? What's up, Tamiko? What up, Charmaine Henry? What up, Ramond D. Williams? What up, Thomas Montgomery? What up, Denise Russell? Hope everybody's having a great day. I hope y'all enjoying the show. Yeah, we are. We do. I said that. Maybe that's tomorrow.
The Illinois Department of Transportation is looking for business owners, contractors, and consultants who are interested in doing business with the state. It's IDOT's Region 1 Summit for Success, Saturday, July 21st at the Tinley Park Convention Center.
How y'all feeling today? Take a moment, share the part.
Here is your chance to learn the ins and outs of securing contracts with IDOT. Be there for a keynote address by Rodney Strong.
You better be waiting for the taste of WVON while you talking about a Cardi B meme. Don't get. What up, Thomas Montgomery? Tamiko. John Rembert. The Cubs suck.
Visit WVON.com and click the IDOT banner or call 217-782-9104. 217.
Yeah, actually, I think we're not drinking. We're gonna do Doug, and then we'll see y'all there.
The Taste of WVON featuring Dougie Fresh and the Stylistics and Teresa Griffin is Saturday, July
2? I don't never want to be 2. We first. Thank you. I appreciate you coming. And I always see you coming out showing us the support and the love. And I'm glad that I did not wind up dead from the police. Thank you so much. Okay? What's up, YouTube? How y'all feeling today? What up, Tony Adams? What up, TT? What up, Anthony Robinson? What up, Sheila? TT, you went to Russia. What was you doing in Russia? Damn. What up, WJG? My Facebook feed be jittery. Good morning. Have you shared the broadcast today yet? I'm going to start doing a no shout, no share because Melvin Griffin be looking out for a brother just like Tamiko Holt. Tamiko, thank you for sharing with the CHA Chicago Housing Authority residents, past and present. What up, Melvin Griffin? You always show that love too. Thank you, Quincy Fireson. What up, Eddie? Eddie, I know you the conduit. What up, Bob Israel, Arlene Jones, Alvin E. Norton, Jerome Linda Woodward, Melvin D. Griffin. Jerome, Linda won't let you get your own Facebook page. Ah! I'm just playing, dog. I'm just playing. I appreciate the love. I'm just playing. I appreciate y'all, man. I appreciate everybody. Thank you, Quincy. What's up, Jay Minor, Allen, the Mayor, 79th Street? No, I'll kill that. You make me feel brand new. For nothing, so me with you. You make me feel brand new. That same song for you. You are to brand new. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my man, Charles Thomas. Hey, Charles. So I was telling you about the mayor's race and all that. And, this 71st Street uprising, Charles, I'm calling it the 71st Street uprising, has forced the mayoral candidates to weigh in. And so everybody's gotten to weigh in. Gary McCarthy weighed in, said it was justified. Lori Lightfoot weighed in, Charles, and how did you interpret her response?
What was her response as you understand?
That's kind of how I was like. It was like a big looping. Yes, Eddie. She did praise Eddie Johnson.
Yeah, but see, I don't, but I'll get to that in a second.
Okay, so she did. So she praised Eddie Johnson, sort of like, I appreciate him releasing the tape for the people, and but the way that the protesters were treated. So.
Yeah, she's trying to be a politician with it. I mean, Gary McCarthy, he just said it's justified.
Then
but
Go
I
ahead.
just wanted to point out that the video that Eddie Johnson released, which I yesterday called self-serving, I think people understand that now because he froze the tape right where you saw the gun in the guy's band, in his waistband, right?
Remember, it's
and yesterday, you had activists releasing their edited video showing Mr. Augustus with his ID out trying to comply with the officer. So it goes to my question, what was said to people? The audio we didn't get from Eddie Johnson. Eddie Johnson did the public a disservice by releasing a self-serving.
How did they get it to... Charles, let me ask a question. How did they do the video part? You know how, like, when you watched it, it was like, action. It was moving fast, and then it was like... Remember the $6 Million Man? Where, like, and then it just slowed down, and then you see, like, his hand. But you know what I was thinking? If you got shot, right? Would you reach to where you got shot? Where did the bullets go? Like, I'm thinking, you might be like, we don't know what his hands was doing.
Exactly, we don't know what his hands were doing. The fact of the matter is the police department violated their own protocol to release an edited, self-serving video. Because you can't tell what happened. You don't know what was said. The man, and then when the activists released the video, clearly showing them his identification or his FOID card, firearms owner's identification card, Then you go, well, was he complying? And why did that woman cop grab at his waist like that? And was the microphone on and were the cameras on the other cops? They only gave you 1 point.
Well, that's what I was
What
saying.
about all these other cop videos that they have? They didn't show you that. See, Eddie talking about being transparent. Eddie, if you're gonna show somebody some video, show it all. Don't show the part that supports your narrative. He should. Man, that is.
Oh,
I
I
Eddie.
like Eddie. Come on.
Eddie, come on, man. You did some. That was fine.
Let me just say this.
That was fine.
Let me just say this. The mayor got that $7 million in that campaign account, boy. He better, because I'm telling you, you taking a lot of heat for the mayor right now. A lot. You taking a lot of heat for the mayor directly. And so I'm just saying, because I understand how politics work, and you got the, but I sure hope the boss got a golden parachute for you, because my brother, you are taking it in. Let me just stop. Let me
Please stop.
Right.
But I tell you one thing, I hate to do what I told you.
Go ahead.
When he was appointed, man, he had FALL space GUI on his forehead.
So Charles, but then can I tell you what, man? I'm looking at the Facebook commentary and I'm hearing people out in the streets, and some people say that the videotape was enough. The video that they saw, even with no sound.
That's what they wanted. That's what they wanted. They knew that some people would be impressionable enough to accept that. But if you don't know.
So let's do this, Charles. Let's ask this just straight up. After seeing the video of the shooting of Harith Augustus, was the police shooting justified? You have to answer yes or no. You can put a why, you can even say but you have to answer yes or no. Give us a call, 773-591-1690. 773-591-1690. Was the shooting of Harith Augustus justified? Charles, what say you, my brother? Was it justified from what you saw? Or you still in the show me? You got to say yes or no. You got to give us a yes or no.
No, not yet. not yet. No, not yet. Not based on that video. No, not yet. I gotta know what else was going on.
I mean, but Charles,
probably evidence out there that would suggest what else was going on.
Give us a call, 773-591-1690. Yes or no. You must answer yes or no first. Then you can give us your reasons why not, even but. But was the shooting of Harith Augustus justified? Charles, can I tell you what I've noticed here? We have not heard one stitch from Mayor Emanuel on this issue. Now, I mean, like, not one.
You're right.
No, I mean, I'm saying, like, not one, Charles. Like, and one of the other things I noticed yesterday was that, Charles, did you notice how Alderman Cardenas really seemed like oblivious to the situation? Sort of. It's like, I know about it, but I don't, like, I felt like he was, like, I feel like they're trying to keep this contained in a bubble on the south side of Chicago. Like, you know, I don't feel like it's the story that is really happening, and I think it's a powder keg waiting to happen. Charles, the phone lines are lit up. Was the shooting justified or not? Yes or no? Let's go to Frank. Frank, was the shooting of Harith Augustus justified? Yes or no? Why or why not?
Yes. If he was not licensed to carry a gun and ran, the shooting was justified. No, it was not justified. If he was licensed to carry a gun, because we're seeing that the minute the police officer find out that you are a licensed gun owner and you are black, even if you tell them and you have your weapon on you, you end up dead. This was going through that brother's mind. So it comes down to whether or not he was licensed to carry that gun or not. If he was not, then why do you have a gun? It might have saved one of us from getting killed by him.
Oh, see, Charles, that goes to another point that's going on in the community. Let's go to Mike. Mike, you're on the Talk Chicago. Was the shooting justified? Yes or no?
Hell no. No, it wasn't. And I agree with Charles. You don't have enough evidence out here to prove it one way or the other. One other thing, I'm sick of Eddie Johnson. This cop's cop.
Man, Mike, it's hard to watch. You know what else I think, Charles, that they did with this tape that they probably learned from the Laquan McDonald shooting? Don't show the body hitting the ground. They stop it so you don't see the shots, so you don't see the impact, so you don't, so it's easier to watch.
They edited it. It was self-serving. They're trying to support their narrative. And I'm not saying they weren't justified. I'm not saying that. I'm saying they don't have proof. It was very unprofessional of Eddie Johnson to have this video released.
Why do you think he did it?
Because he did it in order to try to support the narrative, to try to, his goal may have been to stop a full-fledged uprising from continuing. Maybe that was his goal, but at the same time, he violated, I think, professional standards by departing from what is supposed to be the police department's policy to do something extraordinary to try to support a narrative at the very beginning before an investigation takes place. Come on, man.
Well, usually when it's a shooting, don't they say, we can't show you the evidence because there is a shooting, there's an investigation.
Right.
And now all of a sudden they doing it, but it's like a stop motion and it says aggravated battery of a police officer. So your mindset is, but he knows he's setting up for that jury, man. He's setting up for that jury.
Yeah, but he shouldn't be doing that. He's a public servant. And he's supposed to serve the public's interests, not the police department's interests. He's a public servant, not a police servant. He's supposed to support the public's interest, not the police department's, and that's what he's doing.
Charles, we're going to talk about it more when we come back. It's the social media question of the day. Was the shooting of Harith Augustus justified after you saw the video? Give us a call, 773-591-6090.
More of the morning show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON.
With the Bloomberg Urban Report, I'm Donna Wilson, the international.
All right, y'all, take a moment, share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Call in. Was the shooting justified, yes or no? Take a moment, share the broadcast. Was the shooting justified? Was the shooting justified? Take a moment, share the broadcast. Have you shared the broadcast? Because if you haven't shared the broadcast, I might have a problem. What up, Isaac? What up, Tara Dupre? I was watching the video, I was watching yesterday on not Chicago Tonight, Channel 7, Chuck Gowdy. Oh my God! The police have to activate the microphone, right? They have to activate the microphone when there is a police involvement. I'm saying just leave the mic on all day. But they said they don't want that because then they could be talking about the chief and you would hear it. I'm saying it's public. We paying for that time. What up, Sammy Moe? What up, Shirley J. Carter? What up, Salim Wakil? Michelle Flagg? What up, Sonia Escobar? What up, Marvin Hunter? What up, Keith Rowland? What up, Melvin Griffin? Tamiko. Shout out to the CHA residents past and present. What up, Melvin D. Griffin, Quincy Frierson, Eddie Jones, Melvin D. Griffin, Bob Israel, Arlene Jones, Alvin E. Norton, Jerome and Linda Woodward. And Melvin D. Griffin. What more can I say? Just thought to remind y'all, I'm from Marcy, so good morning, shine the sunshine. So the punishment for black people is death. Yeah, it is. I need somebody. Stop what you're doing, because I'm about to ruin the image and the styles that you used to. I look funny. But yo, I'm making money, you see, so get down because you're ready for me. Now gather around. I'm the new fool in town, and the sound's made down by the underground. You drink a bottle of Hennessy you got on your shelf? Well, just let me introduce myself. My name is Humpty. What's down with Humpty? Oh. Da-na-da-na-da-na-da-na-da. Oh, once upon a time, not long ago, when people lit pajamas and lived life slow, there was a little boy who was missing. But the little boy, this is what he said: "Me and you, kid, we're gonna make some cash, robbing old folks and making a dash." They did a job, money came with ease, but one couldn't stop. It's like he had disease. He robbed another, and a sister and a brother. Tried to rob a man who was a DT undercover. The cop started acting erratic. He said, "Keep still, boy, no need for static." Gave him a slap. Little did he know the little boy was strapped. "Why'd you hit me?" The gun was headed straight for the cop's kidney. Take a moment, share the broadcast. Share the broadcast. Cause this is Thriller. You gotta ask Sonia, she's the musical director. She's watching the feed, she be hearing y'all. A city. I'm coming home. City coming home again. About me now and then. Do you think about me now and then? Cause I'm coming home again. Men home. I met this girl when I was 6 years old. And what I love most, she had so much soul. She said, "See me, little homie. You know, you don't know me, but yeah, I'm from the Swimmers, man. Off. So they choked on me. You know. You are tuned into the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. Charles, it's our home, man. It's where we live, man. Chicago. Seems like it's a powder keg waiting to explode. It seems like we keep having these little eruptions. Go ahead.
Eruptions, you know. But you know, there's been something stewing, I know, in my pot over Eddie Johnson.
Uh-oh.
First, there was the Rialmo situation.
Uh-oh.
He said it was justified.
Mm-hmm.
The shooting, and a woman, a grandmother, was killed I mean, and it's totally innocent bystander. Come on, Eddie. But he said he was going by the rules. And the police, the rules of when a police officer can use deadly force. And that's why he said Riamo was justified. But then, a few weeks later, he was sent out to police the march as a policeman, to police the march, right, that Father Flavor did.
Mm-hmm.
He ends up in front of the march, locked arms in the march with Father Flavor. Now, if I'm a reporter and I'm not sent out there to cover the march, I can't get in the march. I gotta cover the march. As a professional, you're supposed to be a policeman. That's stewed. I didn't go off on him because of that.
Are you not entertained?
What? I mean, I didn't go off. I kind of held back. But then I'm going like, how do you, that's a conflict of interest. You can't be a policeman out there to serve and protect the march and then get out and get in it. Now, then this thing happens over the weekend where he gives us this bogus video. One view that supports the police narrative. He doesn't show you the body cams of other cops. The sound is missing in action, and it's a totally biased point of view. And I tell you, Eddie, man,
Charles, though,
be a cop. I mean, just be the police. I mean, I ain't got no problem with the police myself, but be the police. Get out of the politics.
Can I ask a question? Where y'all king at?
King Flavor?
Where your king at?
Well,
where is your king?
I hope he's out somewhere saving souls.
No, y'all king. I want to know where your king at. Cause your king, did the king comment on the video? Cause he sure had a lot to say about Eddie before. Where is your king? You want to be the boss? The heavy is the head. Heavy is the head that wear the crown.
Where's the king? Where's the mayor?
Yep. Where they at? They at that same meeting they had before that march.
Eddie's taking all the bullets.
Hey man, Eddie, let me tell you, all I'm saying is, bro, frat. Look, they better, man, bro, that parachute better be good. They better take good care of you, brother, because somebody else got some explaining to do. Hugh, was the shooting justified, yes or no? Go. You better use them.
Hey, okay, look, man, hey, it has come to a time where we need to stop playing. Eddie Johnson needs to be ashamed of himself. Rahm Emanuel, he needs to be extricated from office. I mean, seriously, man, you got black folk now in so-called illusionary leadership. This shooting, at the very least, something looks wrong.
Thanks, man. Art, you're on the top of Chicago. You got 30 seconds.
What's going on? Bottom line, to me, based on the video, it was justified. Number two, I am a concealed carry. I've been stopped by the police 7 times in Inglewood, 79th and Maryland, and all over the city by different races of police. And every time they stop me, at the end of the day, I complied, followed the rules, and I had no issue. So you all need to get that together. That young man had no business with a weapon, and when he did what he did, he had no business yanking for the police because they didn't.
Thanks, Art. Look, it's the top of Chicago. Charles, we're going to continue to keep this conversation going because Amara's going to be here, but we'll be back after the news, traffic, and the weather to talk Chicago.
The talk of Chicago and the voice of the nation. 1690 WVON, Berwyn, Chicago.
Keep the calls. Tell Todd to keep the calls because we're going to let this conversation overflow. Man, y'all. So, Brother Edward, do you say that the shooting was justified?
Look at this headline, Mace. They distributed.
Yeah, $255 or $224 million. They netted 224 or 255. I can't remember. It's a 2 and a 4.
They distributed $8 billion last year.
But it was like 244 million per team, right?
Owners.
Netted.
Yeah.
Netted.
Yeah.
Each owner of an NFL team, as shitty as your team is,
they
got
shared
a
$8 billion. Crazy. Yeah, I was surprised when you see that story.
Art did make a. So I can't believe. So was the shooting justified? Yes or no?
You get a pretty even mix of calls today.
Yeah. I mean, it's 50-50.
Yeah, pretty much.
It is 50. Y'all like the calls. The phones are 50-50.
I said the call's been 50-50 on this.
I'm telling you, this conversation is going to be good. Because the viewpoints of the police and how people see the police. Because I'm coming home again, man, home. I met this girl when I was 3 years old. And what I love most, she has so much soul. I said, excuse me, little homie, I know you don't know me, but I'm from the city, and they call me Windy, and take a moment, share the broadcast. Share. Has anybody tried Grid View on Facebook? Okay, so if y'all ain't shared the page, we got a problem. What up, Dr. Darlene? Nicole Rogers. Man, I think some people didn't really get my Should We Chalk It Up yesterday. I think like some people were like, literally, like I don't think we should ever chalk it up. But I think they took it literally. That was bad. Do you think about me now and then? 'Cause I'm coming home again, man. Oh, I met this girl when I was... We need the old Kanye back, man. Excuse me, what's your name? Y'all ready? Who's coming to the Taste of WVON? I want to meet the people who I don't know. So, like, all the people that I don't know, I want to meet y'all at the Taste of WVON. Are y'all coming to the Taste of WVON? Mary. Who's going to see Mary? Mary. Let me see. What's your favorite Mary J. Blige song? You'll be a Nola, didn't nobody? Who's coming to the Taste of VON and who's going to see Mary J. Blige? Let's start with Taste of WVON. Who's going to Taste of WVON? If you're going to Taste of VON, give me a thumbs up or a response. If you're going to Taste of WVON. WVON. Man, I wonder who sponsored. Regina, what you putting in the cooler? You got to make some juice. That's good to know y'all coming to the Taste of WVON. Yes, Regina, you always do. I'm going to Ravinia. What's up, Julian? Bueller, Sadiq, Susan. Everybody should sit next to Regina because that cooler. All right, Ian, make sure we meet. Man, I don't be messing with that cooler. I be telling people go to that cooler, but that cooler is scary, y'all. Regina is. Did y'all know that Regina is the official bartender and chaplain of What's in It for the Black People. So after we pray over the juice, we drink it. What up, AJ? You coming to the Taste of WVON? Man, I ain't never scared. I ain't never scared. Doom, 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 doom. Mm-hmm. He ain't turning. Regina, Jesus turned water into wine. Regina turned gas into gasolina. I mean, no gasolina. Take a moment, share the broadcast. Help us get over 100. Share it. Share it. See, Facebook, we breaking up out your algorithm again. What up, Kemet? Da 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 da.
Hey.
Da 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 da.
Is that the new theme music?
Do 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 do. If one more number try to stop me, it's gonna be some dreadheads rumping in your lobby. You don't want no problem with me. You don't want no problem with me. It's another day. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my man, Charles Thomas, in the building. But y'all know how we do at the top of the hour. Gotta say what's up to the WVON Morning Show team. What's up to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, as well as Miss Sonia Escobar. She is the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. But y'all know how it is. It is 7 o'clock on a Tuesday. And you know what happens at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday? She comes in the studio. You know what? The Soul Plane takes a trip to Wakanda to pick up, that's right, Miss Amara Enya. Amara, how you feeling today?
I feel great today.
You feeling, Amara, you got that glow. You got that glow. I see the glow. I see. Where did you ride the bike this week?
I actually did the Major Taylor Trail and went south.
Okay, so you went south. Wait, all you for once. Hey, so when you went south, you didn't happen to ride by 71st Street, did you?
Not on Saturday. This was on Friday.
Oh, this was on Friday. So you missed all the action on Saturday.
So I was actually on the south side on Saturday.
Okay.
Actually a little bit south of South Shore, like south of 71st Street. But I was very much aware and.
Amara, it's not Obama land yet, clearly. But it's been so much going on. And you know what, guys, I've been looking forward to having this conversation. Just so you know, yesterday, the conspiracy was on. Do you know they cut our phone lines? Do you know that they did not want black folks talking about this issue yesterday? Let me tell you. In my lifetime, there's not ever been, and it was crazy. But Amara, I feel like Chicago's a powder keg. Charles yesterday eloquently and then today eloquently reiterated his thoughts on the tape or on the video that we saw. And so I want to get kind of your snapshot on what you saw, your impressions of what's going on, and based on the tape, was the shooting justified?
Oh, man. So there are a lot of, first of all, the tape and what was released brought up additional questions, right? Because for me, I would like to have seen the entire footage. I think it's important not only to have the entire footage, but it's also important to have the audio from what was released. I think that would answer some of the additional questions that came up, particularly about why the stop occurred and what happened during the stop. What I was able to surmise is when he was engaged by the police officer, there was someone else one of the other cops that came and appeared to make a grab for him or to reach for him. To me, the question is, what was that about, right? If he's already been engaged, he's already surrounded by police officers, anything that kind of quick action that would cause a reaction from him, how is that part of the protocol? And having audio would have made that more clear, I think. It's just hard to tell what was going on when you can't hear what was going on. All you can see is what's happening on the video.
But let me ask you, both you, Amar, and Charles, if this gentleman, regardless, if the gentleman had a gun, he did not have a license to carry it concealed, will it be justified?
If we're asking the question about what the pattern has been, I think we pretty much know what that is going to be. I don't think that the police department would have released the tape so quickly had they felt that it would paint them in a negative light. I think they believe that they have enough to show that it was justified and that it will be a justified shooting. I think that a lot of what happened in the immediate aftermath, just having access to the facts and also being able to clearly see, to objectively, in spite of how we feel about it, assess the circumstances, and then to think about what the history has been and how they will rule in a case such as this. I mean, I'm not optimistic that somehow it'd be found to be unjustified, or CPD will say, oh, it wasn't a justified shooting.
Charles?
I think that if you talk about the definition of a legal shooting by a police officer, and they have the power to use deadly force, there's no way that I can see that they're gonna go find this shooting illegal from a standpoint of a cop. Just like they're not finding the killing of Betty Jones illegal. They didn't find that illegal. But they say that Rialmo was justified, right? In as much as the legal definition of a cop using deadly force. Yeah, they're gonna say that in this case. But could it have been avoided? Could there have been better police work done to save a life? That's where the question is that myself as a citizen that I want answered clearly. And the video doesn't give me that answer.
So, yesterday when I asked this, and I was asking it facetiously, but no, laughing but very serious. Laughing but very seriously, should we chalk this one up? Right? And when I say chalk it up, and I know I sometimes I say things for effect, and but I feel like he had a gun. If he didn't have a concealed carry, this is going to be an open and shut case in Chicago, because I don't think that Chicago police, if they have, some Chicago police may have the option to try and think through it, but that's not even what they're thinking about.
But it's like Rialmo and Betty Jones. That was never a chalk it up, because that police officer that night should have had, what do they call a taser? Should have had one. And I think now after that, in the aftermath of that, police officers are all going to get tasers, and this is the path to reform. What did they say to that young man out there, and how will Chicago police approach people carrying concealed weapons now that it is legal within the corporate limits of Chicago? We have to have a protocol now for how police officers approach people like that. Maybe Mr. Augustus thought that a FOID card is all he needed. Well, that needed to be rectified in the field, but they have to be prepared for that kind of person who might have a fire. The man had his gun holstered. He was not some Pookie and Ray Ray out there trying to shoot the other gang member. He had it holstered. It was clearly for self-protection because, as you pointed out yesterday, he probably walks away from work with several $100s in his pocket every night.
Right. So, I'm torn on this, right? Because immediately I saw the Facebook, black man shot down dead in the street, and I was enraged. And I was like, here we go again. And then there was another story that came out, and then there was another story that came out, and now I'm trying to patch it all together, and I'm now kind of getting this whole, like, why you don't react, right? So I got that. Now I'm trying to figure out what's next, right? Because, see, I think people reacted on 71st Street. Like, it wasn't just about that shooting itself. It was about so much more that I feel like everybody's walking around with blinders on, and I feel like it's about to pop. But speaking of about to pop, because we got to go to traffic and weather, a block away yesterday before the protest, there was a drive-by shooting that apparently was committed where a woman was killed a block away from where they were protesting, and that no one was accusing the police of. The same time, Charles, you mentioned the family on the way to church Sunday morning who was killed, and there was no protest. What role do we have in what's happening in our communities, for real, on the Talk Chicago 1690?
Yeah, senior citizen.
Right, like it's supposed to be rules to the game.
On Sunday morning.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. 71, 70, and 59? Like, what's up with that? And we don't have, the papers are barely covering it. I did see the Channel 7 covered it yesterday.
It did.
But the rest of the papers are like just a little blurb. Come on, they're going to the Jehovah's Witnesses church convention or something, and carjacking at 7 o'clock in the morning. What is going on?
Yeah.
And we don't have any community outrage. It's not there. There's not a march over there. There's not a full court press to find this animal. Excuse me. What? I'm sorry. To do who did this?
Yeah. I mean, I've had pretty strong feelings about what our role is in this whole thing, and I mean, we have the ability to walk and chew them at the same time, but also, like, we have a significant role to play to police our own, to monitor our own neighborhoods. I just can't, the idea of asking someone else, especially people that aren't, to monitor and protect me, it doesn't even feel right. It doesn't feel right. Like, we should be doing it ourselves. And it's not like we haven't done it ourselves in the past.
We had to.
We had to. We still have to. Clearly.
But what was, when you think about what this person at 7:15 in the morning is thinking, that he would attack those three people in the car?
Senior citizens.
And like, what are you thinking? Where have your values gone? Where did you ever have them? Where are they? Who was teaching you? What brought you to that point in life that you would do something like that? You don't have context at all of what being civil is in your own community. And yeah, somebody leaving the club at night who you saw you ordering a lot of bottles and you gonna rob them. Okay, I'm not justifying that either, but man, you have like totally debased yourself. You don't have any sense of. But you know, this whole notion of people being able to have concealed carry, meaning how the police interact. And I've thought about that. I don't know if anybody, I mean, I can say that because I can't filter it through me, but I have thought about getting a weapon. You know, I have thought about getting a weapon, like getting a weapon, getting a concealed carry. I go by the place, when I go to Indiana, I see the place over there on 100th Street saying, we teach concealed carry license. On 75th Street is one, detective agency, Grigsby or whatever. And I go, wow, maybe I should take that course and get a concealed carry and give me a piece.
But that's a good point that you brought up, because remember when they initially came out, they said he was exhibiting the characteristics of someone who was carrying. So if concealed carry is now the law of the land, what are those characteristics, and how does that play out, especially against the backdrop of stop and frisk, against the backdrop of profiling?
Against the drag of being black in America.
Precisely, like they would have to lay out.
Well, I mean, I think black folks ain't supposed to have guns, right? And the fact of the matter is, no, I'm 100% with you. But when you think about the root of the police, and it was just reiterated at my family reunion with my uncle, who is a police officer. He said, man, the job of the police when we was kids was to, when white person was mad at you, they just called the police and the police could go get you and the police would do all the stuff to you. And it's the same situation going on right now. Y'all, the police ain't gonna do it though. It ain't what's happening in our neighborhood. The police ain't gonna happen, and I'm telling you, we done got too civil. And it's too easy. But I'm going to tell you that, I mean, I feel like when I said yesterday he played the odds and got caught, do you know how many people carry a gun for just protection? That, like, and if he couldn't get a concealed carry, is he supposed to not be a barber? Right? Actually, I want to bring a barber on because one of the things that I found out yesterday is that a lot of barbers pack, right? And I was thinking about, like, when I was coming up, we ran from the police all the time. Like, if the police, no, I'm serious. If the police came to the block, like when we was trying to hang out or do stuff, if the police came, the instinct was to run. And they might chase you, but they wasn't shooting you. Right? If you was running, it's like it's a game of do you get caught. But it wasn't getting shot in the back.
I mean, it's just tough. People asking like if you had ill intent, but you can't tell intent from the encounter. Like intent has no bearing on the outcome. Like they were asking about if you had ill intent from the beginning, but you can't tell intent.
Right. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. You got my man, Charles Thomas, and we are talking with the Queen of Wakanda via Chicago, Miss Amara Inya. Hey, so, yesterday, so we're talking about the 71st Street Uprising, right? Occurred on Saturday. Couple days of marches and protests. I done seen all the big name activists and protesters on the scene.
You haven't seen the king yet.
We ain't seen the king yet. King ain't been there yet. The fresh off the damn rain.
God bless him.
God bless the king. God long live the king.
No, I'm serious, man.
Oh man,
I'd love to hear his take on this.
So, but a block away from that location, as people were preparing to march, there was a drive-by shooting. The police are not accused of being a part of the drive-by shooting. And then Charles, yesterday, you mentioned the story that we were talking about on the break today about the family. What happened?
One of the most underreported stories of the last few days. 59-year-old woman on her way to church with a 71-year-old man and a 70-year-old woman. They're carjacked on the west side, and the 59-year-old woman shot in the back of the head by the attempted carjacker. You mean I saw Channel 7 did a pretty good job of covering it yesterday, but the newspapers, just a little short blurb, nothing, no activists over there marching around, on the west side saying, who is this person that did this? Let's find him, community. Let's have a full court press on getting this.
No cameras yet. No cameras. No cameras yet.
Yeah. No cameras there, so the
there ain't no cameras, man. You can't get that. You don't get, bro. You do not get the Facebook shot.
Yeah, I saw Reverend Ackery of the Leaders Network over on the south side in South Shore, but this was over on the west side where he's from, where the Leaders Network has most of its leaders. I want to see some folks over there. I'm outraged. This woman was on her way to a Jehovah's Witnesses convention at 7 o'clock in the morning, and she's murdered.
So, I'm going to pose this to the Queen of Wakanda and you, Charles, and I'm going to jump into it because I was having this conversation yesterday, and I was at a community meeting earlier last week, and there seems to be some varying opinions on what the problem is. So when I talk to elders and seniors, like not the upwardly mobile, but the traditional seniors, they are like, we want more police. We want y'all to get them people out of our neighborhood, the element. We want them, and I don't care if it's police brutality, be more brutal. But we want them gone because we can't go outside. There's those people. Then you got my generation. I think that police have a place, but there's a balance. Then you got young people talking about they want to abolish the police at their level. But I feel like we're talking so much about police and external forces policing us on what should be basic values and respect for each other. What's going on, Madam Queen of Wakanda?
Well, I think the way that you laid out those three categories is fairly accurate. There are those, particularly seniors, when you go to CAPS meetings and other community gatherings, that do talk about wanting more police because for them it's just a safety issue. They want to feel safe. There are those who talk about the balance, and then there is a contingent that is about abolishing the police, and I think that's based upon the historic role the police have played in this country. I think for me, to be honest, to have an honest conversation about this issue is to acknowledge, one, the historic role the police have played, which has always been to protect property in the money class. It's never been about really protecting people, protecting the neighborhoods. Two is what system do we have in place and what mechanism do we build that replaces the need to have police in our communities? There's work that needs to be done there. There was a time in history when we actually patrolled our own blocks, when we actually monitored, when we made sure that women and children were looked after. And I don't think that we can have an honest conversation without talking about the kind of system that we build, that if we're gonna abolish the police, which, fine, but what do we have in its place so that when your grandmother needs some help or something goes down, she can trust that there is someone or some group of people there who will come to her aid, who will support, etc.
I think back to a block party that occurred where actually the seniors in the neighborhood couldn't come outside because their grandkids had all their friends and family, their friends and homies outside doing a video and all of those things. You talk about that village. I don't know if they're really, well, let me not say I don't know if there is a village. I'm going to say that there's a village and then there's an element. And there's an element that is impacting the village to a point where we could all pay a price.
Well, I think that's very true. And part of it is looking at how the natural mechanisms within the community that did help to normalize behavior. And that was people respected, someone's mom, anybody's mom could tell you.
Because she could also take a switch off the tree and whoop that. You tell.
Well, but there was a whole network where we cared about other people's kids. Other people's kids are our kids. That whole system that has deteriorated over time, and I think we're feeling the effects of that.
Look, Charles, I got to get your perspective on this when we come back. It's to Talk Chicago. News, traffic, and weather is next. Yeah, I'm just trying to hit these breaks. I'm trying to make my breaks. I'm tired of getting emails and memos and mails. I do not want to miss the breaks. So, at 7:30, I'm just telling y'all now, when y'all see me start doing this, I'm not talking, I'm wrapping myself up too. Because if I get one more email, excuse me, can I talk to you? Be like, you thought you did a good job? They'd be like, you missed this, you missed this, you missed this. Okay, so do we need a drop squad?
Look.
Go ahead. We need you to send us some vibranium. Look, I'm going to tell you though. See, I promise you. So somebody asked me yesterday, and I said that there either needs to be, it can't be a purge, but there has to be an understanding that between the police and the people that are willing to take the action and say, look, stay out of here till 1 o'clock, and at 1 o'clock, stop by that tree right there, because it's going to be a pile right there. I think, like, whoever did whatever to that family carjack, it's like, I don't want to hear your story. I don't. I'm sorry. There's no story that I want to hear from you. I don't care about what happened and how you were disadvantaged and all of the things that you didn't have in your life. You killed a 59-year-old person on their way to church. Go stand in that corner and take your medicine like you supposed to take it, and your mama and them need to just come scoop you up, right? But there's no fear of, they're not scared of police, right? And if they're not scared of police, there's no, in my opinion, there's no anything that consequence for actions that you take that are detrimental to the village. There's, you go rob the bank, go do what you want to do, but you do it out externally. When you come across this line, right, we already know that how we at war, and we got a guerrilla warriors tearing up our own supply lines right now, right? I just think there's got to be an understanding between black people, like, yo, you can't live, that house gotta go. And
there does have to be that, there has to be that internal accountability. I just don't think that, I think the internal accountability is just as important, because, so when we protest the police, fine, whatever, right? State-sanctioned actors should be held accountable. They're not supposed to be killing with impunity. So that's all legitimate. But at the same time, I need to be able to, on my block, know that if something goes down, I shouldn't have to call the police to come and rescue me. And I don't want to call the police to come and rescue me, right? Who do I call? Now, I can say on my block, because we know each other, and because we cultivate relationships, and because there's a trust there, that they will normalize, because I've seen them normalize the behavior on the block. But how do we replicate that and scale that up citywide to where we're willing to be accountable to ourselves and normalize the behavior of the element that is detrimental to us internally?
The block, see, I think that the problem is kind of lazy. Like back in the day, we knew who to go to, right? You could go to boom, 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 boom. You didn't have to go to 5,000 people, right? You could go to Malik. You could go to, there was certain people you could go to that could get a message to everybody, right? That, like when Yummy went down, like when the Robert Yummy Sandiford joint went down, the police was like, so, this is your problem, you need to, and they said, okay, and we saw the 9-year-old boy gone. There is, I think that could be done, but I think that it's got to be done in a micro way because there's not a macro organization anymore. There are not macro organizations. And I feel like that savage stuff is so pervasive right now. I mean, I feel like we need to hold GCI accountable. I mean, I feel like there's a whole bunch of, like, I honestly think that we need to pull even the black radio personalities that are pumping this music, that are pumping all of this stuff, that are, like, we need to be like, yo, I know you work for Clear Channel. I'm not, or iHeart or whatever, but hey, Femo, you can't be, we gonna stop the hits and then be like Murder, Death, Kill. Some of the shit I done heard on these songs, be like, I'm gonna kill you. And be like,
We'll talk about put the guns down, but then you're playing.
Right, but you can't, so my thing is, and these are people that I know, but it's like, I can't tell you can't be a radio personality, and I can't tell you to control the playlist. But I know that you can control what you say and your actions and what you do, and what's happening to our community is detrimental, right? So, like, hey man, I love, Tone is my man, but we got to get past being at the club with bottles of Hennessy right now, because them same niggas I leave in the club with bottles of Hennessy, and y'all out there turning up, and then they leave out the mug and kill each other, right? Let's build an army. If we got an army of killers, can we build an army? I'm just saying, like, think about all of, I feel like a lot of us came up under the Mobb Deep Act, right? I say that all the time. My kids were probably born under the Mobb Deep Act. I was drinking. My whole thing was being a hip hop, right? And let's talk about it. We'll talk about it. Knife. Won't you show? It's even when you're asleep. Oh, swimming, spinning, and those go digging women disappear. It's still the end. Must be life. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Got my man Charles Thomas and Amara Inya. Hey, y'all. Drive-by shooting 1 block away from where they were protesting. A family on their way to church. 59-year-old woman shot in not a drive-by, in an attempted carjacking. Nobody accused the police of that. Charles.
You know, I reject the analysis by anecdote that somehow older black people feel one way about security in the community, and middle-aged people feel another way, and young people feel another way. I think we have to understand that these events, this dysfunction is happening in specific neighborhoods. The neighborhoods that have the most, that lack investment, the most investment, and black folks who are living in the suburbs now, and I don't mean necessarily the far suburbs, I mean Calumet City and places like that, they might feel the edge of this, but they're not feeling it as intensely as you feel it in Garfield Park or you feel it in South Shore.
What about Harvey?
Pardon?
What about Calumet
City? What about Harvey? I mean, it's in all degrees, but I mean, I think that
Dalton?
It's not happening in Dalton the way it's happening in South Shore. I mean, you know, I think a lot of this has to do with the abandonment of our community by the quote unquote black middle class, that they've gone away, they've left, they've abandoned people, and they're not coming back to deal with some of these issues, or we are not, people that are living in the suburbs now, black folks, are not seeing this as their problem. And we're just not on the same page. And I think we're not teaching a lot of our young people the values that they need to know about community security. and because we've abandoned the community.
And I've seen, so I do have examples and experiences where it's worked and it's given me a sense of optimism. So, for example, when I run in the morning, this is like a week and a half ago, and it's early and still dark. And there was a time where, so I'm running, and there's a guy who was just standing, I don't know what he was doing, but he was out, and he said, good morning, and he said, oh, you're out here good morning? I said, yeah. And he said, okay, I'm gonna watch you, make sure that you're good. Like, I've had that experience from a young man, probably 30 years old, in the neighborhood, who saw a woman running, jogging, and said he was going to watch, he was going to look out for me until I was out of his line of sight to make sure that I'm good. And he said he would do that every time he's out there. Like, I've had those, that's what I mean. Like, I like that feeling of being able to run in my neighborhood and know that the guys that are out are going to look after me and make sure that I'm okay.
I agree with that, but I would say that you're talking about a 30-year-old, right? I don't think that I don't think that what we're seeing necessarily is coming from 30-year-olds. I think if you make it over the arc of like 25, 27, you might still be in the life, but you ain't out there like transferring daily gunfights and battles like we're seeing these young people do. I think, though, that there is a difference in the way that all of these groups view the police. I think, through my perspective, I think my generation lived through Rodney King, right? So we were kind of like the police, but we grew up. We got our jobs. We're doing our thing, and so we want to have a secure neighborhood. I think when you talk about these young people that are on the front lines, right, that are out, they are like, we don't want no police. And I'm going to tell you, I just think like a lot of seniors in crime-ridden neighborhoods are like, they ain't, I don't think Laquan McDonald's is an issue for them.
What?
I don't. I think, let me not say I don't think it's an issue, but I think that they see black kids standing on the block preventing them from accessing all parts of their life. And they ask for more police, and they are not concerned about police brutality as long as the people are off their streets.
So even if we accept the premise of the contingent that does want to abolish police, and I know many people who are my colleagues and people that I work with who have that mentality, then maybe the question is not necessarily, well, we don't want the police, it's what do we want? And then if we articulate what we want, how do we build that? Right? So it's okay to say we don't want, you're anti-police, right? But to me, that's not enough. It's, okay, what do we build in its place? Because you're essentially saying we want safety, right? We want, a lot of them are saying, we want investment that creates stable communities where people have been invested, where they can get jobs, where they can go to work, go to school, et cetera, et cetera. So the work is, well, how do we build that vision? Like, what do we want in its place? We know we don't want police, but how do we get the safety that we do want, right?
Okay.
Did we ever have it?
I think we had safety. I think there were times that we had monitoring, we had safety, there were times in history where we've had it. So it's not even like we have to create some new, brand new thing. It's recognizing what we built in the past.
And we had it because if you were a black teacher, if you were a black scientist, if you were a black college-educated black person, you lived in the community. You were there, and you said, "Hey."
Until when?
Huh?
Until when?
Until the 50s.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you had it. It was there. There were role models you saw every day in the community that were there, that cared, that said, "I'm not putting up with this. This isn't going to happen here." And they were community leaders. And they were there every day. Now they're living in Glencoe.
Well,
you know?
But I mean, I think it's not just Glencoe. I think they're living in Glencoe. They're living in the West Loop, the South Loop. They are living, but I don't even buy 100% into that premise, because even when you look at the studies, they say that even black folks with money still live in segregated neighborhoods for the most part. Now, if you look at, I mean, that just can't.
I don't know. I haven't seen that study, but the fact of the matter is that they're not engaged. They're not engaged anymore in the problems that affect people who still live in those communities.
So I feel like the thing is, there's an us and a them, right? And I think if we don't address the us and the them, then we don't really get to the issue. There is I would contend that there is a portion of our community that, I don't care how many jobs you put out there, man, I feel like we got a base group of people that we got to have a different program for.
Black community, black in this day and age, in 2018, black people do not have to live in the black community, but the black community must live within them.
We'll talk about that when we come back in the Talk of Chicago. That's like philosophical.
Of course it is. I like to be philosophical. I am philosophical.
I'm not tripping. I mean, I'm not.
I don't have any problem with philosophy.
I don't think it's a. I mean, I'm not debating your philosophical opinion.
I
But how do you practically execute black in your heart?
Am I parked over there or back there? I think I'm parked back there. I mean, I'm here every day. I ain't making no money doing this.
What are you talking?
I'm saying that's the kind of investment that you make. I don't know how you do it, what skill set you bring back to the community, but you bring it there. You take it there, and you use it, and you work with it. You do what you can with it. I mean, and I think there's not enough of that happening right now in the black community. I know people. I got friends who doctors, lawyers, men who work downtown. But as much as legal services are needed in the black community, they don't move a muscle to come back here because there's no money involved in it. Or black physicians that don't do any work anymore in the black community. We have to regroup and say, hey, what are we going to do to deal with this situation? And a lot of us, quite frankly, are not doing it. I mean, we got a break in the 70s and 80s, and we moved out, and we haven't come back. And it's not a physical thing. It's not necessarily a physical thing. It's a commitment thing.
It's part of the same thing when we talk about elected officials who, once they go down to Springfield, for example, and then all of a sudden they forget, like, they represent the party instead of the people that they were elected to represent, right? So because they don't have that consciousness or that commitment, that allegiance to who they are or to the people who put them there, right? So, I mean, I kind of see like that parallel. Like if they had that consciousness, then maybe they would vote differently, maybe
Absolutely.
they would advocate differently.
Have a different master.
So I think that what is happening to the brothers that are on 71st Street is physical. It's not, and it's, I think like we have this, we have like a very altruistic kumbaya type of mentality. We are like physically under attack, right? Physically under attack. We are being assaulted, we are being shot down, and I think that we gotta do something else too. So I'm not denigrating anything that anybody wants to like come back, but I feel like a lot of our mentality is I'm not them niggas, right? And I think that when you think about the genesis of why most people moved out of the neighborhood, it was because they wanted to get away from them people, right? My parents moved because they didn't want to be around, and now it's them people that they moved away from, we moved away from, because I lived in Bolingbrook, that are really at the And I don't think that black communion is in their hearts. I think survival is in their hearts. And I think that they've seen a couple of generations now of they've survived, and they've survived with a certain kind of way. And how do you put that in their hearts? I don't know. I just don't know. I just feel like we're in a physical war right now. Like, and we gotta think about, like, how do we deal with the physical attack that we're under internally as well as externally.
Yeah,
It's like,
I agree.
It's like the we shall overcome stuff.
And the fact that, I mean, you have a force that is going to be affected by the perception of black people, the fear narrative, the criminalization.
It's the special Negro syndrome. River leads to your ocean. Never see you crawl apart. In the words of a broken heart, it's just emotions taking me over. Caught up in sorrow, lost in the soul. But if you don't come back, come home to me, darling. There's nobody else in this world. Nobody else in this world gets a goodbye tonight. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my man, Charles Thomas, as well as Amar Area. Y'all, we've been taking up all the combo. Let's let the callers say a little something here or there. Let's go to the phones. Donnell, you on the Talk of Chicago, 1690.
People on the radio with you this morning. I wish she would hurry up and take over the city and run for mayor like she's supposed to again, because I got all those signatures last time, and I was mad because she didn't win.
Thank
you.
You got 10 seconds left now. Go ahead.
Thank you.
But seriously, you know, I'm listening to the conversation, and there's a couple of things. You know, one of the things that I tell people all the time when they talk about moving out of the city, a lot of these people taking their kids with them, and those are the ones who are shooting.
Exactly.
You know, so one of the things that we have to do is make people once again realize what their role in parenting is, because our home values are not what they used to be. Secondly, I noticed, you know, I'm only 37, but I listen to my cousins who are slightly older than I am. And I hear something that's very common, where everyone starts talking about how in the 70s, people started being real private about their business. And they didn't want everyone in the neighborhood to know what was going on, where it used to be your neighbor knew that you worked 2 jobs and you were a single parent, so they watched the kids, they made sure they weren't sneaking in and out the house. But now we have this mentality where we don't want nobody to know anything.
Thanks, Donnell. I agree with you. There is a lack of sense of community, like group whoopings. We call them group whoopings. It was a circular whooping. Let's go to the phone, because Rick, you're in the suburbs, right?
I stay in Chatham.
Oh, okay. So what's going on, Rick? Tell us about this, because you were talking about Section 8.
Yeah, I grew up in Chatham, and at that time, you know, the low end was the projects, the Robert Taylor housing projects and everything like that. And I used to do work for my church down there. I worked with kids and did all type of things. They said, "You crazy going down there? Why are you going down there with those people?" So these same people, when the project's down in Section 8, these same people moved in with us. So now you don't want to deal with them when we can help it. Now you got to do it. It's your problem. And as far as, I have one other thing real quick. My mother is like 98 years old, and she was talking about when we grew up, and if somebody heard about somebody getting murdered in the paper, something like that. She said, we knew it was a white person because black people didn't kill each other. So it stopped me and gave me pause. I said, we come that far?
Thanks, Rick. Let's go to, who do I have? Robert. Robert, you're on the top.
Robert. You got Robert. Yeah, that shooting was not justified. And Charles is right. Eddie Johnson's using the rule, ethnic cleansing in the black community.
Man, ethnic cleansing in the black community. So, yo, I mean, see, I feel like this thing is moving to the south suburbs. I think when you hear Like, I think we just don't get they don't put the media attention on it. What about them? Did you hear Rick when he said those people? And that was black folks talking about other black folks. It seems like there is what we call the element. How do we address that?
So part of it, though, is recognizing the conditions also, right? So part of what happened with the plan for transformation when people were given Section 8 vouchers to move anywhere outside of Chicago, largely they went to the suburbs where you did not have the infrastructure that creates the supports that create stable communities. Like, we're missing something. And a lot of the communities where we're seeing the shootings, you have very high transient populations, so you don't have people that are necessarily vested. So even when we talk about those internal mechanisms that regulated what was happening in the community, if you have very high transient populations that really aren't there for very long, or don't own property, for example, in the neighborhood, then you're going to have a lot of instability. You add on top of that shutting down anchor institutions in those communities, not having the sort of supports for people who are on the brink in those communities, and all of that gets exported out to the suburbs.
And but Amar, I believe in the systemic stuff, but what do? Right? Like, the fact of the matter is, it's like philosophically, it's one thing, but it's happening right now. So if you live in Chatham, if you live in Harvey, if you live in Calumet City, if you live in Dalton, and you're seeing the wave happen, it's coming. If it's not there, how do you deal with it? And until we get it in their hearts, what does the person that is living it right now do?
Well, I believe that if you are living it right now and you live in that particular area, there is some, for me, like, I can choose to rush into my house every day, close the door, close the blinds, and not engage. Or you can try to connect with other folks in the neighborhood. You can try to build that network, even if it's just on your block, even if it's just with your neighborhood. I don't believe in this notion that there's nothing that can be done internally. We know that there are systemic issues that we have to address, but there's some things that we can also do just in our own day-to-day.
Charles,
the things we can do in our day-to-day. I think that was a great line. Things we can do in our day-to-day to change. Here, I got a slogan again, but we got to be the change. We each one of us has to be the change. What can we do? What can we do to make a positive impact?
So, I'm with both of you, and I'm with both of you. I think, what can we do individually? I am concerned that as we continue to take individual actions, like, you got all of these little explosions that happen individually, and we hope that eventually they will connect the dots. But we got a big problem in our neighborhood, y'all. And it's happening right now. What are we doing? How do we pour it back in? So, man, I think maybe we should make a list. Like, what do you do when you come back? What do we need in our community, and how can our intelligentsia, but I think it's more than our intelligentsia. I just wonder, how do we reconnect to each other? I don't know. Parents getting killed. Grandmamas, grandbabies. Used to be rules to the game.
Part of it is seeing our own humanity. I think when you live in a society that constantly tries to push this message that demonizes an entire race or class of people, where it's coming through media, it's coming through music, it's coming through television, and some of that gets internalized.
Look, we'll talk about more when we come back. Actually, we're going to talk about interracial dating. Should black women date outside of their race? Talk Chicago, 1690 AM. I said we was having us an Amara cam.
1690
right?
WVON.
Because I'm going to tell you, Amara. I'm going to tell you. You better not show up around here with no white boy. We can see you. I can see some tall, lanky white boy walking around here. Good. Let me get the Amara face. Come on. I said we need the Amara cam, right? We had this story. We was telling this story, right? Like, when you see white boys, when you see white boys with sisters, usually the sister is like an 8 and up. No, for real. If you see a white boy with a sister, she is either rich as hell, in the case of Serena, right? Or she is like an 8 or up. if you see a brother, it's like 8 out of 10 times with a white girl, like longer than, like they've been together longer than, you know, dating.
What's the rating?
We'll start like maybe 3 to 5. I mean,
There's a bio on here. Here's the article from the Tribune if you want to look at, kind of pick through it.
Okay.
But you should just be able to read through the conversation. Her book was released in 2008, according to this bio.
2008. Well, where did the Northwestern piece come from?
Well, she teaches her.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, it's usually like they get kind of bigger. They don't really take very well good care of themselves.
With the guys?
Huh?
With the guys that are interracial?
Yeah. The black dude. Yeah. I mean, you know I ain't lying. Now am I lying, y'all? I ain't lying, y'all. It's the best I know. And if I lie, my nose will grow. Like a little wooden boy named Pinocchio. Now you all know where the story goes. No, I'm just saying. Seriously, though. Think about it. Like David Bowie, he married a mime. Look, you seen Van Jones' wife?
No.
Okay. You don't want to see Van Jones' wife. See?
But how much of that, though, is about class, though? I mean, two multimillionaires marrying each other, they obviously are taking care of themselves, being millionaires, right?
Give me an example.
It's just, like you said, David Bowie and Iman. Iman was a...
Okay, I'm saying walking around here.
Oh, like just on the...
On the street. You see if you go downtown and you see a white dude holding a sister's hand, she probably about 6 feet tall. She probably got hair down her back. She is probably an African goddess. She be like regal and shit. Like she go home.
It just means he has good taste.
No, it means he like, I know if I bring a black girl home, she better be a 10 to my mama. Meanwhile, brothers be like, you know, we still got that white is right. I can't trip. I grew up in Bolingbrook. But why you laughing, Amara? Because you know I'm telling the truth.
I never thought about that.
But now that you think it out. Think it out. Think about all the brothers that you know. A brother is excited a lot of times to have a 5 outside. They will pass over a 10 inside for a 5 outside. If it make them feel like they have a ride.
Wes says he can do 8:35 today.
Let's do it.
So but you know what? He hit me on Twitter like 53 minutes ago. So I was like, okay.
See what you
I'm
do.
calling you. So,
let me know. I can float.
Okay, so let's got that working.
Okay.
I don't know about that, Charles. I haven't observed. Maybe I haven't been paying attention.
In some arenas, it's a symbol of status, right? It is.
Well, they would say like for professional athletes, right? I mean,
But I'm saying in certain industries, but it's not in industries. I think like for some people, it is a status symbol.
That could come up.
Yeah, like I have someone outside of my race. I mean, like I think I know people that will. Man, I know brothers that be like, I don't even date sisters. I only date. Because it's a status thing.
You don't give up.
Well, so the rating system, he's saying that white men and black women, the black women are usually like 8 to 10, like very high. But the opposite, black men with white women, the woman is, he said 3 to 5. So the notion is that the white man will get like the highest quality or highest caliber, but black men who date white women will settle for.
You know, I'm just not one for anecdotal. I like to identify an anecdote as just that,
Yeah.
and it's a sort of a personal feel for something. I try not to make it try not to sound like an authority on anything about like what's going on, and I find that very dangerous to do when you try to be an authority on something only because it filtered through you. Because what I found out is that I'm 67. I know more today than I was 57, and I was 47, and I surely know more than I did when I was 27. And I realize now what I didn't know, and I always live in that space that I gotta learn. I have to know, because what I thought I knew 10 years ago, I did not know, and I gotta always try to lean on that as opposed to being an authority on it, because I just don't know. That whole piece, I mean, I think it's different in 2018 than it certainly was in 1968 in terms of interracial dating, marriage, the whole piece. That's a different society. And I mean, I understand where my sister's coming from. There's a lot of black men in jail. A lot of black men.
So I haven't read the book. Is she coming from the scarcity narrative?
She coming scarcity and happiness and, all of that.
Black women are some of the most educated class in America. If you divide by race and gender, the most.
Yeah.
Sonia was.
She's saying that there's not enough. Is it not enough black men?
That too. Sonia just said though, when she worked at Burlington Coat Factory, they would take a tally, right? They would bet if a black dude came in with a white chick who was paying for everything, and she said like 80% of the time, but that's true. It's so true. Like coming up, you'd be like, you get your, man, I'm telling you, I grew up in Bolingbrook. I used to be an expert on this. Damn. Still no yogi? No yoga? Not just a little bit. That was eyeball yoga. We're going to call that eyeball yoga.
That's what I didn't get.
It's All-Star game, baby. Whoa, Sonya had her AACA. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Got my man Charles Thomas in the building, but y'all know how we do at the top of the hour at 8 o'clock. When you hear that song, means I got to get my stretch on. That's my 8 o'clock yoga. But y'all, we got to say what's up to the WVON Morning Show team. What's up to Annette Flournoy in the newsroom, as well as Miss Sonia Escobar. She is the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. And as we do on Tuesdays, Charles, Amara Inya is in the studio. Now, I cannot wait. Amara, are you coming to join us on Saturday at the Taste of WVON? We consider you part of the morning show team.
Yes, I will be there. I'll actually be co-hosting with Cliff Kelly at 11.
Oh, you're going to be great, huh? Okay. All right, you a traitor. Girl, you went to the great show instead of the morning show. We got you, though. We see how you do. No, it's too late. No. Now, look, y'all over here laughing. Charles, Amara, we have on the live line. She is an adjunct faculty SESP of the undergraduate program of the Facility of Master of Science in the Education Program and the Associate Director of the Alliance for Graduate Education and Professoriate. Good Lord. Amara, she got a bunch of letters in. I don't know if you put the letters in front or the letters in back, but whatever it is, ladies and gentlemen, we have on the live line Cheryl Judas. Now she wrote a book, Charles, talking about black women need to date outside of their race. Cheryl, I think we got a problem. Speaking as a black man, what are you trying to tell the sisters these days? Welcome to the WVON Morning Show. Cheryl?
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to the WVON Morning Show. So, Cheryl, you're telling sisters that they need to date outside of their race? What's going on with that?
Well, I'll tell you. What's going on is that there's simply not enough eligible black men for every black woman that would like to get married. So if a black woman confines herself to only seeking love within the race, there's a great likelihood that she's going to remain single.
This sounds like a conspiracy. This seems like another opportunity to bash black men. Why are you telling us? Don't you think we should stick to our own race? Shouldn't we all stick together, date within our race?
Well, it'd be wonderful if there were enough of us to do that and it happened, but history has demonstrated that that's not been the case.
So give us some examples of finding love outside of your race, and how would one even go about doing something like that?
Well, the case that was the landmark case that changed the ability of people to marry outside the race goes back to 1967. When Mildred and Richard Loving got married in their home state of had to leave their home state of Virginia to go to Washington, D.C. to get married. And once they did, when they returned to their home state, what they had done was illegal, and they got arrested. So they still proceeded on to have a normal married life, and they took their case all the way to the Supreme Court, where it was successfully challenged. And it then broke down all barriers across the country for people that wanted to marry interracially. It was no longer illegal.
Cheryl, this is Charles Thomas asking the question. You know what? It seems that you're sort of breaking ranks here, and you think marriage is a great institution, huh?
Well, indeed, I do. Marriage is the foundation of the family, and there has not been a single society, no matter where you are in the world, that has thrived without a strong family structure in place. And that structure is most often codified within marriages. So, yes, I have to say I'm a strong supporter of people getting married.
So what happened with black folks in marriage? I mean, they're saying that 72% of our children now come from single-parent families. When did we
what
marriage?
has happened is that I think with so much legal discrimination and systematic oppression, people have fallen away from those values that kept them together. And that's what's happened to blacks and, quite a few other groups as well. The white out of wedlock rate also continues to climb, not nearly as high as the black rate, but that's not to say that it's not a problem for their people as well.
Cheryl, is there a stigma still associated with interracial dating, particularly?
Yes, there is.
Particularly
But it's a lot better than it was.
You said yes, sir, but it was better than it was. So how does that play? So what response have you had from black women and black men regarding your book?
Well, I can tell you overwhelmingly black women have been very supportive of my book. Have any of you read the book, by the way? I'm just curious.
No, I haven't. I was waiting on my copy. It didn't get it before our interview.
Okay. Well, black women overwhelmingly have been very supportive of my research. It's not based on opinion. It's based on actual multiple interviews with many, many people. I studied this topic for about 15 years. I wrote a first book on the topic where I compared both marital pairings, black women married to white men and black men married to white women, and I compared and contrasted their lives. And I have to say that black men still suffer a greater social stigma marrying outside the race than black women married to white men, despite the fact that black men are at this point about 3 times more likely to marry white women than black women are to marry white men.
So let me ask you a question on outcomes. What has been your understanding of the outcomes of these interracial dating relationships?
Well, when they lead to marriage, there was a study that was published, maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, where we looked at where the researchers compared what it was like at the 10th year anniversary for interracial couples. And so, in comparison to white couples, what they discovered was that black women married to white men were 44% less likely to be divorced than whites. So for black women married to white men, the outcomes have seemingly, the research is suggesting that these marriages have been very successful.
So I have a question, just pertaining to the research. Is there any correlation between the age at which those black women who are marrying white men or marrying outside the race and the marriage? So are they getting married later? Are these younger women in their 20s that are marrying outside the race? Would that have an effect on whether or not the marriage is, they're 44% less likely to be dissatisfied with the marriage? I'm asking because if someone is getting married later, the likelihood of them staying together is much higher versus a 21-year-old or 22-year-old who marries outside the race, the likelihood of them getting divorced would be higher.
That's a very good question, and it actually goes all across the board. Most interracial couples that marry tend to be older than typical couples marrying for the first time. So that definitely would be a factor in marital stability. In the case of black women that are married to white men, another reason that those marriages tend to be more stable, my research suggests, is because of the egalitarian nature of these marriages. Most women in this situation tend to be, with their husbands, they tend to be in similar fields. 2 lawyers, 2 doctors, 2 teachers, 2 musicians, and the list just goes on. And that is a level of compatibility that maybe some of the other marriages between, say, black men and white women may not have.
Hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to author Cheryl Judas. She's suggesting that black women need to go outside of their race to find love. The phone lines are lit up. We're going to talk about it when we come back. It's Talk Chicago 16.
More of the Morning Show with Maze Jackson coming up on the Talk of Chicago, 1690 WVON. Hi, this is Cliff.
Go ahead.
The issue of being, what they would say, equally yoked, right? So finding someone who is of similar stature to be equally yoked, because it helps to alleviate some of the differences that come when you just have backgrounds that are very different. So that's something that I was thinking about when she was saying that they're more egalitarian. It's not necessarily like culturally, it's just if you're a doctor, there's an understanding there that can exist. Right?
I think you're right. I think economics plays into it, right? I think the economic component of it plays into it because how many people make the same amount of money, right? I think the other challenge.
I think that something that we're not talking about is when you decide in this society to become part of an interracial relationship, you're more, I would argue maybe there's an extra layer of commitment to the relationship because you are already doing something that's outside the norm. So the staying together isn't necessarily because it was just better to date outside the race. It's because you're already jumping over a hurdle to do this interracial thing. So you better be a little bit more committed than if it was just your, same race relationship. Does that make sense?
100%. Let me tell you what I also think. I think that if you didn't grow up, I think that there are certain environments. I feel like a black dude who grew up in Bolingbrook, real talk, is going to wind up in an interracial relationship, right? But I think that you see higher skewing numbers of interracial dating when on the black side, male side, when he's arrived, right? When he's arrived. So when you look at where you see the bulk of black interracial dating professionally, it's when he's arrived and then he jettisons the black girl because now he going to all these parties with all these people. I would challenge you that I looked at certain industries, right, in media, and all of the people in certain industry, in this media industry, the black people all had they dated outside their race. They all had like these people that we held as stalwarts.
That are in like entertainment or like actors now.
That are like.
Personalities.
That are like.
Maybe for tomorrow.
Okay. No, seriously. So like Warner Saunders, like all of the people that we grew up.
You're whispering, they still hear you on Facebook.
No. Oh, duh. Right. But I'm saying like what I think is these conversations get sensitive. But basically what happens is you arrive at a certain spot, and then once you arrive at that certain spot, y'all all the fellas think they all black, right? They ha 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 ha, but when they go to their parties, I've arrived. And
Does it become a numbers game then because of who you're surrounded by? Like, because now when you get to a certain level, perhaps the numbers, it's just more people of other races than your own. And so it's proximity to a certain extent, right? So if there's no one in the vicinity, then, or whomever's in the vicinity, whomever's in the pool is in the pool, right? So do you jump out of the pool to get something else, or do you just go with whomever the proximity to? I mean, and I say the same thing because even if black women are saying that it's harder to find black men, you look at the proximity, like what environment are you in? What spaces are you in? What circles are you in? That's the easiest thing to attract, is what you're close to.
I think that, and I think economy. I think economics works to that. I think it's when you talk about proximity, I think about economics too, right? Like the economics, because who you're in proximity to based on your economics. Right? You make $1 million a year, you're going to be around $1 million. The shit's going to thin out, right? It's going to thin out, child. It's just going to thin. Because you're not going to Gladys's no more, right?
Why not? No,
Izola's? Get your ass up out of here. I go to Chicago, cut!
I still go to Ted's on Madison.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are tuned in to the Talk Chicago 1690 AM. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Got my man Charles Thomas, as well as the Queen of Wakanda, Miss Amara Inya. Hey, and we are talking to author and professor Cheryl Judas. She's at Northwestern University, but she wrote a book, and she's suggesting that black women need to date outside of their race. Cheryl, do you mind if I take some calls? Because you got some angry black men on the phone.
Angry, because I always start out by asking, have you read the book? So much of this anger would be abated if they simply took the time to read the book.
Because the premise is that the numbers, it's just a numbers game. You're not suggesting that black men are less than. You just suggest, except there's just not enough.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's precisely my point.
I think y'all just I think the women got to work harder. Charles, what do you say? Charles on the phone.
I think this is a classical example of self-hate. And it's turned into a psychosis because this lady is trying to push her sickness on us. I mean, this
Charles, she said it was, but Charles, she said it ain't enough black men. It's not enough.
No, it's not about that. Look at what they're doing to us, Maze. We just get through talking about how they've been abusing us all these years. And her only suggestion for us at this critical time is to marry and love them.
Oh, Cheryl, how do you respond to that as we are being shot down in the streets?
I can't begin to tell you how many times that I have heard that. I can understand some of the frustration, but then again, this is coming from someone that I know has not read my book. what can you do? You can't argue with people that don't take the time to understand what the real issue here, and to think that in any way that I would denigrate or diminish black men is just simply not true. I understand the frustration, but again, to ignore the fact that there are so many black women that never experience a happy romantic relationship simply because there are not enough black men. What are they supposed to do? For everyone that's frustrated, I'm here to hear solutions. I've heard such things as, maybe in this country we should allow black men to have 2 wives so we can start countering that problem. Really? Yes. Nature shows you that even among the bees, there are never 2 queens in one hive. So, again, the idea that this is something that a black woman should even entertain, what does that do to her psyche?
Amar, what is that face you make? Hold on 1 second. Amar, you making a face over here. As a black woman, what you think?
Well, so it really, and this is probably a longer conversation than we can have this morning, but this notion of polygamy and really understanding the purpose of it and how it functions and the context of this society and what was necessary. So we talked about the economic piece, and if you were going to be in that situation, you had the economic wherewithal to manage your entire household, which included multiple wives and their children. So a lot of times it becomes, well, we should just marry, the man should have multiple wives. But there's a whole system in place to why that worked within the context. And I would argue that that's not necessarily the solution for the issues that we're seeing now.
Cheryl, let me ask you a question. Are you saying that it's not enough black men or enough good black men?
Well, see, now that is a question that every woman has to decide upon herself. I'm not trying to establish criteria for black women to determine who they feel is best for them. I just want every black woman to have the freedom and the self-confidence to know that she is entitled to the same romantic happiness as any other group of women, however she defines that.
Hey, Cheryl, but it does seem as though right now we are in the black people as a whole are under assault. And it seems like, should we be conspiring with the enemy right now, be rebuilding our ranks?
Well, the point is that you are looking at systematic oppression versus the individual. Do we really believe that every white person is out to oppress us? If we do, we really have to open our eyes. And in this time in which we're living, and I'm very cognizant of where you're going with this, we need to recognize that it is not just black people being oppressed. All kinds of people are being oppressed. If you look at just even what took place in Europe, when Trump went over to the country, it's very clear that Europeans, they're not against Americans. They were against the policies that are being put forth by that one individual. So to blame every individual for something that was systematic, it's really kind of, crazy. You need to be able to separate what's really going on, the true the honesty in the heart of the person that's pursuing you. Are you really going to say every black woman should not marry outside the race because of systematic oppression? But no one is coming up with a viable solution.
Charles?
And I think that people should be free to make those decisions that best suit them.
Charles?
We reported on this program not long ago that black women were the most educated class when you in this country when you divide people by race and gender.
Oh.
And does that mean that they are probably in contact with more white men than they are black men on a social basis or work basis?
Well, I don't know that they're in contact with more black men necessarily.
I said white men.
But I am saying that the higher up someone is employed within the workplace, the greater the likelihood that they are going to be employed by white people and have a closer association, which may lead to relationships than, say, someone that's working on an assembly line where they don't necessarily have the time to form, romantic type attachments.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is Cheryl Judas, pick up her book. You gotta grab the book, Interracial Marriages Between Black Women and White Men. Published in December 2008, but still relevant to today. Cheryl, we appreciate...
Hello, I have to stop you. That was the first book I wrote.
Oh, give me a second.
Came out in December of 2008. Right. My new book just came out here in June of 2018. My first book is sold as an academic text on the subject. I was the first one to publish a text on the experiences of black women that were married out to two white men. This one expands on my first book. I look at black women who are dating.
Gotta stop you. Thank you, Cheryl. I gotta stop you there because I gotta go to traffic and weather, but thank you for being with us. It's the Talk Chicago 1690. We'll be back.
Live from the WVON newsroom.
FYI, she is married to a black man. She actually is married to the owner of Hecky's Barbecue. Her premise is the numbers. And guys, we're about to talk to, did you hear about what's going on in Charlottesville? About they're renaming all those parks again? So like after the Charlottesville riot, they took down the Jackson Park and the Robert E. Lee Park and named them Emancipation and Justice Park.
You're a big girl now by this time.
They're changing those names. No. Now they're changing it to Court Street and Market Street because the people don't want emancipation or justice. Right. So we're gonna talk to the alderman who the only vote that was the lone no vote not to change the names. But it's like, we did all that crying over Charlottesville. It died down. And now, okay, Amar, you have the camera. I think, though, it's a class thing.
On the cover?
I think the interracial dating thing is a class. Like, outside of high school love and all that crap, I think it's economics.
It's largely economics, but that drives who's in your circle, right? That drives where you are. Like you were saying, you go to Chicago Cut versus, what other place.
Right.
Because that's where your economic situation will allow you to go.
Right.
So you're going to be surrounded by other people who are at Chicago Cut, not necessarily folks who are wherever you were before.
But see, the way I see it is we go to Chicago Cut and we create our environment. So when I'm going to Chicago Cut, I'm saying, hey, yo, let's go to Chicago Cut. I'm using this as an example. But I'm not going to Chicago Cut with the expectation. I already know going to Chicago Cut, I'm going to eat. This is not where I'm going to find my lost love or shit like that. Usually if I'm going to Chicago Cut, I'm going with a group. Right? We're taking, so us of economic wherewithal that would go are gonna go together. We're not gonna go there and then be like, and I think if you go to Chicago Cut with the premise of, if you go to Chicago Cut with the mindset that you're looking, then you are going there looking for someone white. You're not like, cause even the wealthiest brothers that I know that got money jobs, if they into sisters, you gonna find their ass at Renaissance, right? You gonna if you ain't trying, I feel like it's a climber thing too, right? Like it's like a status symbol, and depending on your industry, that's why you see it so heavily in places where like sports.
Yeah.
You see it in sports and entertainment, right? Where it's supposedly more permissible. But again, and then in those environments, you still get to be black, right? Your version of black is...
I asked Dr. Wes Bellamy on the line. Okay. And I said, we're going to talk about the vote coming up here. And I go, are you the only African-American on the council? And he said, no.
Okay. All right. Good. So that's good.
Is that code?
Yeah.
Get your ass up.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not qualified to talk about the plight because
Yes, that's a beautiful thing. That is so freaking awesome. Thank you. No, cause I always have like this nightmare that you're gonna do like a Serena Williams. Right? Like Serena was the sister of sisters, and then she show up with the 6'10" Reddit dude. Like, really?
Part of it, I just feel like, well, I just don't know. The scarcity narrative, I feel like it will make you operate in some very strange ways. Like, you have to know, that you what you attract, right? What you're able to attract. I think. See, this I don't know if I'm even qualified, but I don't believe in this scarcity narrative.
But I'm gonna tell you what, though. Let me tell you what. I bet you, if you went out, like say like if you went to Chicago Cut. Like say you were dating or you were in the mix and you went to Chicago Cut. I can almost guarantee you that white boys would approach you all day long and brothers would not.
Don't have it, by the way.
I can almost guarantee it.
Charles, we're going to have a guest coming on here, okay? We're going to have a guest.
I can almost guarantee it. Like,
right here.
the white boys would be bold enough to be like, man, they would be like, what day? And they'll be like, hey, because they would assume, right? If you're at Chicago Cut, they know, like, right? Or like, say, for instance, Gibson's, the white boys would approach you. The black dudes would avoid you, not even because of intimidation. I bet you a lot of them wouldn't even make eye contact, or wouldn't speak, or would be like, you're laughing, but you see it all the time. Like, I see it all the time. I see it all the time. Like, if you're on Rush Street, or a place, like, say you went to Soho, the white boys would be all over you. The black dudes would be like...
This is the same story that we were reading earlier.
Okay.
Will they sing it on Saturday? The 1971 hit, You're a Big Girl Now by Philadelphia's own Stylistics, one of the featured acts at this weekend's Taste of WVON. The Stylistics, my choice today, brought to you by Next Level Health. If you need Medicaid services and you live in Cook County, contact Next Level Health. Maze?
Y'all know how we do every day. After the 8:30 break, it is Charles's choice. But Charles, Amara, Charlottesville. Remember Charlottesville? The dude will not replace us. Will not replace us. Remember, Charlottesville was where white power movement descended on Charlottesville, and in response, Charles, we and Amara, we saw the city, the world, the nation take action. And then we saw the local city council move to change the names of that Jackson Park named after Stonewall Jackson, Confederate soldier general, and Robert E. Lee. Charles, you know they changed the names of those parks to Emancipation Park and Justice Park.
Right on.
Hey, man, I was like, check out the black folks down in Charlottesville getting it together. They took a step. I said, you know what? Emancipation Park, where they do that at? I was like, them black folks doing their thing down there. They done took advantage of this situation. Well, Charles, I looked in the paper yesterday, and I see that I read the headline in the Daily Progress. Charlottesville City Council changes names of 2 renamed parks. So I was scared, man. I thought this.
Wait a minute. They changed the name.
Right.
And then they changed it again?
Right. Now, Amara asked, she said, wait a minute, they didn't change it back. I was like, no, they didn't change it back. But what they did do was they changed the name of Emancipation Park to Market Street.
How much time?
Justice Park, they named it to Court Street.
Didn't take much time to do a switcheroo.
What's with the switcheroo? So, Charles, Charlottesville became the center of international attention. And so I felt like it was important for us up in Chicago to find out what is going on and connect the dots with our black folks. So on the live line, Charles, yesterday the vote was 4-1 to change the names. I said, can we get the one vote that said we're going to keep it emancipation and justice? And we have him on the line. Dr. Wes Bellamy from Charlottesville. How are you, sir? We are all right, man. Charles, go ahead.
We're doing great, man. So
what? Why? I mean, first, how did it get to be Emancipation Park? I guess. I mean, obviously there was a movement to do that.
Well, when we initially decided when I was in the effort to remove the statues in Stonewall Jackson, with that, I had a push to also change the names of the parks. So essentially a year or so ago, we got the park's name changed, and we went through this open process in which we allowed the community to provide input in what they think the names of the park should be. And there were a lot of people who wanted generic names like Market Street Park. I mean, there was a large decision of people who wanted the names of the park to remain Lee Park and Jackson Park. Obviously, most of those folks were white. And then we have in my opinion, there's just a lack, or we are reluctant to try and address things head on. And because things may make us a little uncomfortable, or because they make us think critically, we sometimes are reluctant. So when we initially got when I bought the Fourth last year, listen, we're going to change the name of the park. So, like I said, there was a lot of people who wanted Market Street and bland names. And I convinced my colleagues that we had to do something in which was much more powerful and meaningful Emancipation Justice Park. So they decided to vote with me. Subsequently, after that, there was a lady who lives in our community named Mary Carey, an elder African-American lady, who said she believed that having the name Emancipation Park in the same place where the statue of Robert E. Lee still stands, because we're under court injunction to move it, she felt it was extremely disrespectful to African Americans. And I disagreed, but she led this effort to have the parks renamed. She got a lot of support from different people in the community. There were people who wanted to change to other things, and essentially we did another vote. We sent it out to the community. We did several different surveys. We put it in people's water bills, and the top vote getter was Market Street and
Wes, let me stop here. So a black woman led the charge to rename the parks to make them more generic, but it's because the statues were still there. Is there any way to get the statues taken down?
We can't we've already had the vote to have the statues removed. We're the only place in Virginia to do that. We're the first city to say that we're going to remove Confederate statues. We were subsequently sued by a group of people here in the city or in the county to have the statues stay in place. So we're under a court injunction in which we go back to court in October for our local court to decide whether or not we can move the statue, because it's based on a Virginia law that says you can't remove war memorials, and they believe that Confederate general statues are war memorials. We're arguing that they aren't, because nowhere in the deed does it say that it's dedicated to the war. It just says that the statues were dedicated to their parents, and they're really dedicated to white supremacy, because they were put up in 1924, and they had KKK rally, one before the statue was put up, and then one right after it was put up. But that's neither here nor there.
And I'm hearing that these statues these parks have now become the flashpoint of white supremacy here lately now. Tell me about what's going on there.
Well, not lately. I mean, they've been the flashpoints for white supremacists. We had Tiki Torch rallies last May. The KKK came down and had a rally on my wedding anniversary, my first wedding anniversary, which isn't by mistake. At the time, I was the only black person on the council. Now I'm one of two. And it's the first time we've ever had two black people on our council. We have the first African-American female mayor right now as well. And she agreed with me in regards to the park's renaming. I mean, we were in line. She just voted for, the park renaming because I think she just wanted to move on. But as a matter of principle for me, I couldn't go with it.
So she voted to change the name, to make the name generic.
But she explained how she didn't agree with the names and she wanted something deeper. I think she just was like, let's just move on.
Let me ask you, because you're down in Virginia, here in Chicago, I guess we do have monuments to white supremacy too. But tell me what it's got to be like for a black person in Charlottesville having to walk past these monuments to people who wanted to keep us enslaved.
It depends on your level of consciousness, brother. As we see in places throughout the country, some of us are still very asleep. So when I first started talking about this in March of 2016, how we need to move the statue, there were a lot of people. I'm not from here. I'm from Atlanta. So there were a lot of people who were initially like, you're not even from here.
Oh, you one of them troublesome Negroes.
Yeah, I'm a rebel rouser. And then I'm the youngest person ever elected. So I'm kind of like, listen, this is crazy. So initially there were a lot of people who were like, the statues have been here since 1924. It's our history. We don't need to change it, blah, blah, blah. And then after we started seeing the white supremacists come in because they felt as if I was taking away what was theirs, not just the statue, but some other policy things I've been working on, that's when our community kind of started to see that these statues are indeed flashpoints, but there's more than the statue. We're embedded in the white supremacy and institutional racism throughout our community. So when I walk by it every day, it's essentially a slap in the face. We've now become a much more conscious community and understanding that, especially after August 12th last year. So people are understanding that the statues need to go, but state law, as our local judges interpreting it, says that we can't, so we just got to continue to fight.
But look here, it looks like after all that happened in Charlottesville, the we shall not replace us, the woman getting killed, everything seems to be turning back to its racist old self.
No. No, I'm not going to let you say that.
Okay. Tell me why I'm wrong.
Well, you know what? You got to tell them why you're wrong when we come back after traffic and weather. And make sure it's snappy because we got to wrap it up. It's the Talk Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Mace Jackson. Charles Thomas, Amar in the building.
More of the morning show with Mace Jackson coming up.
What the reaction has been from residents.
So ask.
So they actually, because they voted to change it to market in court.
That white guilt wore off. So initially they were guilty, right? So now they got the international world looking at them with the whole Jews will not replace us, the Tiki Torch March, etc. Right? So everybody's feeling guilty. Yeah, we got to take this down.
Wes really can't hang.
Okay. All right.
All right.
So, and then after that, it's like it settles back down. It's the same thing that happens like in Chicago.
The statues are still there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They moved the
statue.
That's the reason the crackers all came out anyway, right? Because of the statue, Robert E. Lee, let's defend the statue.
Yeah.
That's why they went there, right?
Yeah.
That's why they did it in Charlottesville.
Yeah, I was surprised when he said that. I assumed that they moved the statues, put them somewhere else, but the statues are still up. The streets are court and market. Yeah. Which, well, it's like after the protest. After you shut down the expressway and then...
Where the Kang at? They need to Kang down there. Kang need to go down there and get them right.
Oh, man.
Wes couldn't hang, so we won't get to ask him any questions. But what I think you saw was a young brother who's from Atlanta like, hold on, hold the fuck up. Y'all mean I got to walk past this stuff every day? I think it was pretty cool that he got... I think it was great that he took that challenge on. right? Like, I know you got to fight somewhere. You got to start the fight somewhere. And for him, I mean, I couldn't even imagine but you know what? Shit, we got Jackson, right? And what are our streets? How many Confederate streets do we have, right?
I mean, there are local efforts to rename streets and to rename parks.
Like Douglas.
Exactly, Douglas Park, renaming that after Frederick Douglass.
Instead of the slave keeper Douglas.
Right, so there's a movement here. I mean, even getting Ida B. Wells. There's another push that will be forthcoming about Lakeshore Drive.
Getting DuSable.
Yes, which I like it.
I think that's a good idea.
I don't think there are any Confederates around here, though. Are they, that they honor? I don't think we have any Confederates.
I don't know if they're Confederates. We just have to look at, like, they're historical figures and not having done the research, like Douglas, even von Humboldt, Garfield Park. Like, you have to look at the history of those individuals. I don't know that there are any Confederate monuments or parks that were named after any of them. But it is about claiming space. So even making Washington Park,
Harold Washington Park, not George, who never told a lie.
So that's an effort. And I think it's a worthwhile effort. I mean,
Jefferson was slaveholding. Washington was a slaveholder. I think they all were.
Well, I mean,
Andrew Jackson certainly was. He was
annihilating people.
He killed Indians like crazy.
Exactly. Because she was in the. I don't really want to do that, but I saw that she was in this house.
That was too close. He was like, damn. I was like, he was like this. You are tuned in to the Talk of Chicago, 1690 AM. I'm your host, Maze Jackson. Got my man, Charles Thomas, Amara in the studio. Charles, we had to let Wes go because he had to get up out of here. You know, we called him. He wasn't even prepared. We got him this morning. We called him on Twitter. So he stopped in for us. So I appreciate him following up. But I think you hit it on the head, man. Seemed like once you take the foot off these people's neck, they go right back to their good old racist white self. Everybody was boo-hooing. Oh my God, Charlottesville. It's terrible. You see what's happening out there. As soon as you start looking, sort of like Reconstruction.
Yeah, they can rename the parks, I guess, back to Lee.
Right. They kept the statues.
They can name it after some other.
David Duke nowadays.
They can do anything.
This is the state. No, they must name it after Vladimir. Look, they must name it after Vladimir Putin. Vladimir Putin. You don't know we are now, as I negotiate for the black people, they're going to love me. The black people, I'm going to be the best czar for the black people. You know, you didn't know? I am the new king of America. Donald Trump gave me the keys yesterday. Vladimir. I am Vladimir Putin. You laugh at me. I see nothing funny. You find this funny? I will send you to Siberia.
Siberia, it's cold, man. I don't like the cold.
You will be.
Please don't do that.
Okay. Amara. I am going to be the best czar for all the black people.
Almost like Bruce Rauner.
Yes, like I am the best. The best for black people business. I tell you. Vladimir Putin. I tell you. You should see the tapes I have on you, President. You should see the tapes. That's Melania. Boy, you should have seen Melania before. Do we tell you I have the tapes? And you know that Donald Trump, he likes to party. So when he came the last time and he drank the vodka, you know how those white boys get. And I had my KGB agents watching him everywhere he went. Vladimir Putin, I'm telling you, I am going to be the new best for the black people. You will all love me.
Let me have the music play.
All right. Now, pilot, take me to Wakanda. Take my plane to Wakanda.
Black Russian.
All right, y'all. So, look, y'all, we had the WVON Morning Show. Vladimir has gone back. We got to wrap it up. But, y'all, real talk, black folks, what we going to do about ourselves? You know what, Charles? Yesterday when you told the story of that family, it was like we were all caught up in 71st Street. And I just took a moment to think about what it must have been like to go to church, to be getting dressed and ready to go to church. They pull up in the car. You got your church hat on. I'm making that part up. But and I think about when I used to put on my Sunday suit and walk downstairs and give my grandma a hand and we'll go to church. And to think like you never would have thought that you could die on the way to church. But then, if we find out that this is a black person, did y'all watch The Wire? Mm-hmm. Remember The Wire that time when they tried to hit Omar's mama on the way to church? And it's rules to the game.
It's rules to the game. Definitely.
But I also think about last year at the young man that was killed at Friendship Baptist over on Laramie and Jackson.
On the steps of the church.
On the steps of the church right after service was letting out. And those incidences are why there has to be an internal and an external strategy.
See? I'm telling you.
Are why. Because it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable, period. But just thinking about, and he was turning his life, or he was doing some things.
But the challenge becomes when you live the life, when you about that life, and you want to get out, the life don't always say you can get out.
Did they apprehend anybody?
With an 18% clearance rate?
Right. I think they had questioned some people. I don't know if they ever actually apprehended the shooter.
That's another big problem with the Chicago police, is that people have no confidence that they can protect them. Because like you say, 18% clearance rate.
Man, I got 90.
Clearance, and then, but when it's a high-profile case, like when the commander was killed, the apprehension is just.
Or when you shoot an ATF agent, they drop the whole 80. Think about that though. That means that if you kill somebody, you got an 82% chance of getting away.
Mm-hmm. Hey, check this out. Can you imagine what would have happened had a 71-year-old man, a 70-year-old woman with a 59-year-old woman, all white, on their way to Holy Name Cathedral, got jacked on the north side?
The mayor would be on TV right now crying.
The mayor would be on TV right now crying. Everybody, the Pope, everybody would be involved in trying to catch whoever did something like that.
This is why.
The old Channel 7, I think, is the only station that really went out and talked to people to try to find out what's going on.
This is why Vladimir Putin must be in charge. Because when we catch him, off with his head. Hey, I am for Annette Frenoy in the newsroom. For Miss Sonia Escobar, she is the musical conductor of the Soul Plane. Uncle Charles and Amarenia, as we take the plane to Wakanda, I want you to remember just this one thing. If they don't like it, you can tell them that Mace set will be back tomorrow. Vladimir Putin. All right, y'all. What's funny, Amara? I'm just saying. I might do a Vladimir Putin series. I got to practice.
Nobody is saying about Putin and this Trump thing. What? That, Trump, to me, just wants to be like Putin. He wants to be Putin.
We said that yesterday. We said the Axis. He's trying to do Axis 2.0.
Yeah, like he wants to be like Putin. He wants to be Putin. He has a crush on Putin, I think.
I think
yes. He just wants to be him and wants to be like him, wants Putin's approval.